Trustee Vella,
Yes.
Trustee Vettis.
Yes. May I have a motion and a second to approve the special meeting and closed session minutes of April 24th, 2023?
Second.
Moved by VP Henderson, seconded by VP Eno. Roll call, please.
Student trustee Callahan's advisory vote.
Yes.
Trustee Boulna.
Yeah.
Trustee Henderson.
Yes.
Trustee Hernandez.
Yes.
Trustee Hoffman.
Yes.
Trustee Eno.
Yes.
Trustee Vella.
Yes.
Trustee Vettis.
Okay, next is reports from representatives of employee organizations. Do any member of the resource table wish to be recognized at this time to make comments before the board? All right. Come on up to the podium.
Good afternoon,
Good
everybody.
afternoon.
My name is Angela Echeverry. I represent the District Academic Senate. First of all, I want to congratulate two of my colleagues, Robert Stewart from LA Southwest College, who was recently elected as treasurer of the ASCCC, and Carlos Reyes Guerrero from LA City College, who was also elected to the executive board of the ASCCC. So congratulations to both of them. We just had our state plenary session in April. And as you can imagine, one of the topics that we discussed extensively was the effect of legislation on the academic programs. And in particular, of course, AB 928, AB 1111, and AB 1705. And I just want to reiterate, we're very concerned about some of the unintended consequences of all this legislation. As you know, our system has been shrinking from about 2.1 million students to roughly 1.6 million or so. We've lost about a quarter of our students statewide in the system. And that is also reflected here in our district. And we're just very concerned that this legislation is tying our hands and preventing us from serving our students adequately. So as AB 1705 goes into effect on July 1st, we are very, very concerned about student success in particular, and students going into transfer level courses without having access to any pre-transfer level preparation. During the plenary, we passed a number of resolutions to address these issues, and it's become very clear to us that legislative advocacy is extremely important for all of us. Faculty, we're not used to doing it, but it's become clear that this is going to have to be a role that we're going to have to be much more active in. As far as other things that happened at the plenary, there was a resolution to preserve the American Institutions requirement at the CSU. And we did discuss some of the legislation that is being sponsored by the LACCD, including the in-language instruction. And I just wanted to share that there was a very positive feedback about that. So it sounds like, statewide, there's a lot of interest in serving that community. And as we are facing a shrinking population that we are serving, I think it's very important for us to look for other groups that have been underserved traditionally and make sure that we offer education to them. So we do have our executive meeting on Friday, and we will have our last DAS meeting of the year next week at Valley College. And so again, all are invited to attend, and we look forward to working with everyone to serve our students under this very new environment. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Echeverry. Next. Come on up. Yes.
Good afternoon, Board of Trustees and Chancellor Rodriguez. I am Blanca Barajas, CalWorks Director at Los Angeles Southwest College and the President of the Classified Management Association, CMA. As you know, the CMA members work tirelessly to ensure that our students are successful and that our district meets its objectives. I am here to ask that the board and district administration approve our petition filed with the Public Employee Relations Board on March 17th, 2023, to be recognized with the American Federation of State, County, and Municipal Employees, AFSCME Union. Joining us today is Ms. Ling Isanga, Field Service Area Director for AFSCME International, who will be bringing an important message and speaking later under public comment. We have obtained a supermajority vote of support from CMA members in favor of asserting our rights to be formally recognized as a representative group. This historic step reflected the voice of our colleagues that have been collectively known and coded as the Classified Management Association, CMA, by the district. Today, as the board recognizes labor rights and workers and presents a resolution in recognition of International Workers' Day, we ask that you, too, please do the right thing and honor our voices. Approve our petition to establish a collective bargaining unit for classified managers. We are for the right to be recognized and be seated at the same table alongside our LACCD colleagues who are represented, with the opportunity to negotiate for what is just and what is equitable for classified professionals. Supporting our collective voice to organize and allowing the establishment of our professional bargaining unit will demonstrate the district's commitment to equity and doing right by its employees. We ask that you honor our request to be recognized for representation. Do not deny us the right to be stronger together and respect it along with the other representative groups. The CMA looks forward to the opportunity of building a strong partnership with all of you, founded on a foundation of mutual respect. We know this new relationship will elevate LACCD to newer and greater heights. Before I end, I'd like to acknowledge the LACCD classified managers, my wonderful peers who are present here today. Will you please stand? Oh, they're standing. Okay. Yay. Thank you for being here. Thank you so much. I will end with a quote from the great Dr. Martin Luther King. Quote, "The time is always right to do what is right." End quote. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Anyone else? Come on up.
Sorry. Excuse me. Good afternoon, President Vela, VPs Henderson, Chancellor, Board of Trustees, colleagues, and guests. My name is Hazel Alonso, President for AFT 1521A. Happy Asian Pacific American Heritage Month, Mexican American Chicano Heritage Month, and International Workers' Day. While AFT 1521A is in full support of these resolutions on today's agenda, we are dismayed and disappointed there is no Classified School Employee Week resolution acknowledging classified staff, which is the week of May 21st to the 27th. And if memory serves me correct, it was overlooked last year as well. I would hope that next year it could be made a priority. As AFT 1521A has continued to advocate, we are more than animated machines. There is a prevalent atmosphere in LACCD that we are continuously thanked, recognized, and praised as an afterthought, only gaining a semblance of traction when the administration is admonished for the oversight. It is because of this need to call attention for more classified advocacy that, in conjunction to what my fellow colleague and faculty president James McKeever is prepared to mention, 1521A is in full support of possibly having a joint lobby day at the Capitol, participating with all the bargaining group leaders. There should be a joint collaboration with all the unions to build LACCD stronger and better from the inside. We should not be pitted against each other, often fighting on which unit needs are more important. We all care for LACCD, for its students, its institutional advancement and success. So please let us all work together. And on the same line of addressing the needs of your employees in making LACCD great, I need to yet again speak at this podium and beseech this board to address the mighty elephant in the room, staffing, or more importantly, the lack of it. Yet again, month after month, I am bombarded with employee complaints about the lack of classified hiring. There are more departments being manned by 1 or 2 classified staff with no supervisors or back support. Empty desks continue to remain unmanned. Work continues to bottleneck. Existing staff are overworked, overstressed, develop health issues, now resulting in additional need to take more time off, and yet again, work production gets affected. It is a cycle of self-destruction, and this administration seems so reluctant to fix it. How much more delaying can this administration afford? To make matters worse, there is a growing concern of using temporary employees such as prof experts to supplant classified Unit 1 work. I am here to say on that record, that is not the solution, and it is against our contract. Be it a matter of convenience or finding a savings in salary allocation, understand you are supplanting Unit 1 work, and that is unacceptable. I truly hope that administrators who are attempting to circumvent the issue of classified vacancies stops the pursuit of hiring these temporary employees as a solution. AFT 1521A have the right to have our classification vacancies filled and the right to fight for their well-being of our members. Give us the staffing we need and stop supplanting our work. I truly hope that I have been heard by at least one set of ears today. Please understand that 1521A is focused and willing to work collaboratively with this administration, but we cannot make the improvements and changes alone. Reach out to us. Administrators, talk to your staff, hear their concerns. You know what staff are your boots on the ground, eyes and ears to the stability and health of your institution. We should be heard. Thank you again for your time and consideration today.
Thank you, Ms. Alonso, and I apologize about the oversight on the classified employee week. Staff, can we please make a note of that so that it is agendized? And I certainly do agree that is a very important recognition. Thank you very much. Anyone else from the resource board? I know that, did AFT, are they on Zoom, Mr. McKeever?
Yes, I am. Thank you.
Oh, okay. Please.
All right. And I want to thank my colleague, Hazel Alonso, for her support of what I'm about to talk about. First, I want to recognize that it is Mexican American Heritage Month and Asian Pacific Islanders Month, and I'm looking forward to seeing celebrations for these events across our campuses. On Wednesday of last week, I participated in CFT Lobby Day, where the California Federation of Teachers brought a bunch of union members from across the state to go up and lobby on behalf of education, co-sponsored education, and sponsored education from the CFT. It was a very long but very successful day as we flew up early in the morning and we flew back late at night, speaking to multiple legislators about different types of education legislation. And it made me think LACCD needs to have a lobby day. And I know there is this time where many of you from the Board of Trustees and the Chancellor will go up to Sacramento and you will lobby on behalf of the district and the students. But what we need to do is start increasing that to include not just administration, but the bargaining units, the academic senate, and students on issues that we all can agree upon. And I know we won't always agree on everything, but the majority of legislation that does go through Sacramento, we would all support, because it means more money and services and resources for our students, for our faculty, for our staff to get the job done and service our students. So I would like to see us start to develop a day like that, where we can go up jointly and take as many people from the bargaining units, as well as some of the students, as well as yourselves, to go up there and bargain together and work together. And I'm also looking forward for all of our units to get our contract negotiations done quickly. And that's why I can't join you today, as I'm in our district office as we're in negotiation meetings internally currently. And I want to participate in those so that we can start working on the bigger issues that are of interest and need across our district. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dr. McKeever. Really appreciate that. Anyone else from the resource table?
Yes.
Okay. Hi, Chris. Go ahead.
Okay. Good afternoon, Board of Trustees and Chancellor. My name is Chrisana Ozan. I represent SEIU Local 99. I want to first take the time to thank Student Trustee Callahan for your leadership, commitment, and advocacy for the students. I wish you nothing but the best as you move on to your next journey to success. I want to also thank the board for recognizing today's resolution. I want to thank our Asian Pacific Islanders and Mexican Chicano brothers and sisters for all your contributions to this country. I want to thank our international workers as well, because they play a huge role in building this country. Some have separated from their families and sacrificed their lives just to come here and have a better life. And I just want to say thank you again for all of your contributions to this country. And I also want to thank the board for condemning gun violence in our school district. With the uprise of gun violence across the nation, it's imperative as a district that we continue to do whatever is necessary to be prepared and prevent any type of catastrophic event at our own campuses to ensure our students, faculty, and staff is working and learning in a safe work environment. And lastly, I want to address some concerns to the board. Speaking on safety on the campuses, I know there was a change with our security department. I believe there was a downsize with our security staff, and some were shifted around to other campuses. My point is, I don't think we have enough security on our campuses. We are having issues with transients seeking going inside buildings after work hours and being combative towards our members. And I believe we just don't have enough security at some of the campuses. At one campus, one of our members had their car stolen in the parking lot recently and brought daylight. And this is a problem if employees can't come to work and feel safe on the job. So I'm requesting this board reassess the security contract because we need more staff. And the other concern we have is regarding our members having to use a facial recognition time clock for clocking in and out to work. Back in 2019, this topic was addressed to the board and HR because we had concerns with clocking in and out using any type of biometric time clock. A cease and desist letter was sent by Local 99 demanded that this practice stop. All campuses were supposed to have stopped using this device. However, I was informed by our members that West LA is still using a facial recognition for our members to clock in and out. The concern we have is that this was just imposed on our members without getting their consent. We feel it's a violation of our privacy rights, and it's discriminatory because as far as I know, Local 99 is the only classifying employees using this technology in maintenance and operations, and no one else in the district is using this method of clocking in and out, and that's not right. We feel it's discriminatory because our members in maintenance are mostly African and African American and Hispanic, and we feel like we're being targeted. And if this is the direction the district is going with clocking in and out to work, then it should apply to everyone, not just one group. So we demand that this practice stop and the board look into this. And I just want to say thank you. Mother Day is coming up, so I just want to say happy Mother's Day to all the moms out there. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris, so much. Appreciate your words. I know we have Dean Harrington here representing Teamsters. Go ahead, Ms. Harrington.
Good afternoon, President Bella, members of the board, Chancellor Rodriguez. For the record, I am Deborah Harrington, acting president of the Teamsters representing our deans. We continue to be in CBA negotiations with management and believe that we are in meaningful dialogue and making sufficient progress. Our negotiations team has also had the opportunity to meet with the board president and the first vice president. We hope to have the opportunity to meet with the rest of you in the coming weeks. This Friday, we will kick off our Dean's Academy with the assistance of Chancellor Rodriguez, as well as USC and Arizona State University. Our opening session will be facilitated by Josh Weiner of the Aspen Institute. He also facilitated the Transformative Leadership Retreat with the vice presidents and presidents this past January. As with the VPs and presidents, the deans will be focused on analyzing data and action planning to catalyze and coordinate robust program development and advising models focused on moving students through clear pathways that lead to high wage employment. On Friday afternoon, we also will be having our Teamsters Spring membership meeting. We will be joined there by our interim vice chancellors of EPI and Workforce CT, as well as by the new directors of ODIA and HR. In closing, I'd like to join the board in thanking our student trustee for his service this past year and for tirelessly advocating on behalf of students across our colleges. On behalf of the deans, I wish Mr. Callahan the best as he moves forward in pursuing his educational and professional goals. And I would also like to give a shout out to all of our AAPI members who we want to proudly recognize and celebrate this Asian Pacific Heritage Month, as well as we want to celebrate Mexican American Heritage Week. Finally, please note that the Teamsters stand in unity with our classified manager peeps. We urge you to recognize their petition to organize in the spirit of equity. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Harrington. Anyone else from the board? I mean, from the resource table? Okay. Thank you all for attending. We've received the Chancellor's monthly report, which includes activities at the colleges from the college presidents. Do any of the presidents wish to further comment or highlight anything not included in the Chancellor's report? Please come up to the front. Ms. Gallagher.
Good afternoon, Board President Vela, board members, and Chancellor Rodriguez. I want to thank Kenneth Callahan. Kenneth and I go back several years, and he's done great leadership in the district, both for the board this year and for LA City College. So thank you so much for everything you've done, Kenneth. Best of luck to you. I'm really excited to let you know that LA City College has earned the designation of an Anapeasy College. So we're very, very proud of the fact that we're serving the APITA community in a very, very strong way at LA City College. We also were awarded a $300,000 grant for cultural competency in pedagogy to develop best practices. We have 3 cohorts of faculty who've gone through the AQ professional development, which really helps in developing techniques for student success through teaching, through pedagogy and learning new techniques. So this grant will help us to expand that to all of the faculty who are interested in this training and to allow our staff to get the AQ training as well. So we're really excited. A couple of major events that are coming up. Dr. David Hayes Bautista from UCLA Health is going to be joining us next Wednesday at noon to speak with us about Latino health and culture. And we have World Music Day. I mentioned that to you before, but something special about the World Music Day. First time we've done that. It's on Saturday, the 20th of May from 10 to 3. We are going to be dedicating that day to Kabwe Chanda, who was our IT manager from our district, who passed away in April of 2020. So I've been in touch with his wife and his son, and they're going to be joining us for the event also. We have a screening for APITA month of Parasite. It's a special screening. We are going to have the Consul General from Korea join us that evening, and we'll have a panel discussion prior to the screening. You'll get information on that in the information that we send out. And Dr. Joy DeGrue, I don't know how many of you know her, but she's a well-known speaker, is going to be joining us on Wednesday, May 31st for an action and advocacy for our Race Equity and Social Justice Center. Finally, we have a transition program that's happening right now for our incoming College Promise students to get them engaged. So to start that engagement process, to get them understanding what we're here for and what we will do for them. Lastly, I am going to have a retirement celebration on Thursday, June 1st from 11 to 1. Pink's Hot Dogs, Tommy's Hamburgers.
Nice.
Hope to see you there.
That's a great food choice. Lemon cookies, yeah.
Lemon cookies?
Dr. Roman?
Yes, good afternoon, President Vela, trustees, Chancellor. Trustee Callahan, congratulations and thank you for your year of service and leadership to the district, and of course, to our students. Similar as it's been said, in May, of course, celebrating Mexican American Chicano Heritage Week, also celebrating Classified Employees Week, and of course, AAPI Heritage Month. At ELAC, you might have seen the information. We're celebrating the month with a series of events, particularly discussing historical contributions of our AAPI communities, standing in solidarity, honoring culture, and really learning about the invaluable contributions of our AAPI community. We continue to do our social equity, racial equity and social justice town halls. This is our third year. And tomorrow, if you are around, we have quite a treat. We'll have Luis Valdez on campus. This is to discuss the unique aesthetic, more than 5 decades in the making and defining El Teatro Campesino. So this is an in-person event. We have about 350 RSVPs, probably about 400 by the time the day is done. If you're around, please make sure to join us. We're looking ahead at our enrollment. We're holding pretty strong in the spring. We're at about 50,000 enrollments for this term. And this doesn't include the non-credit and public safety academies, which is about another third of our enrollment. For spring, we have approximately 500 enrollments in our in-language courses. We did offer 18 courses in the spring, and our fill rate's about 70%, which is really good to see. Again, high-touch strategies seem to be effective in the way we do enrollment management and outreach. Over the month of April, we had what we call our welcome days for our high school students. We had 1,200 students on campus, and of those 1,200, 500 have already enrolled for the fall at ELAC. We're following up with the other 700 or so. Our teams are out at the high schools 3 days a week right now, capturing as many students into ELAC as possible. We do think that these strategies of bringing students on campus really work. They get to see the campus. They see themselves coming to places like ELAC and our other 8 colleges. So we'll continue to do those and expand these types of opportunities for students to be exposed to our colleges. And then continuing with our high touch strategies, we have scheduled 3 mega events this May. 1 will be virtual, 2 will be at our campuses. Again, targeting summer and our fall enrollment. And lastly, you may recall I reported that ELAC established the first women's wrestling team this year. And we did very well at the state level. I'm very, very proud and happy to report that 2 of our students won gold medals. 2 of our students won silver medals and 1 bronze. And ELAC placed 3rd overall in the state for our first year. So, you know, I just want to publicly congratulate our female students for a wonderful, wonderful season in women's wrestling. So I want to end on that note. Thank you very much, trustees. Appreciate your time.
Thank you, President Roman. President Dorado, come on up.
Thank you and good afternoon, Board of Trustees, Chancellor. I want to start off my presentation today with giving a huge shout out to our Classified Employee of the Year, Ms. Leslie Fernandez. Not only did we celebrate her last week, she also gets a prime parking spot close to where she works.
All
We
right.
take care of our classified staff. We love them. I also want to let you know that we're already started enrolling our students, as all my colleagues. Our early decision program is in full effect. We're bringing our students, they're getting their courses for summer and fall, and they're leaving with their Seahawk ID. And we remind them, once a Seahawk, always a Seahawk, right? I also want to remind you that in 2 weeks, we have our golf classic where we're going to be raising funds so that we could continue to reward students with scholarship money. And so we're excited. We still have some room for foursomes, whether you could hit the golf ball or not. We'll take your money. And then I want to end by saying that yesterday we had a very successful active shooter drill. We were able to see the sheriff in action, but not only that, our administrative team in action, because we activated our incident command center, where all our administration, our staff and faculty also did what they needed to do. So we have some work to do, but we're working on it. And then I want to end my presentation by saying Happy Mother's Day to both for May 10th and May 14th. Feliz Dia de las Madres.
Thank you so much. Anyone else coming up? I'm right. Dr. Limbaugh?
Okay, first off, just some good news. The women's track team won gold, the men's track team won silver. West is now the WCSC champion
Nice.
in that. And yeah, pretty cool. Pretty cool. I'd like to just be able to run around the block. And so because my president said, get up there, We've got 142 apprenticeships set up in dental hygiene. It's a great brand new program in our new partnership. Thank you.
Thank you. Great job.
Good afternoon. Just two announcements from Valley. The first, like many of my colleagues, we had senior days. We just wrapped it up. Hundreds of students were bused to Valley College and actually left with their schedules for the fall semester, which was absolutely terrific. I know this was a heavy lift and we had to make a lot of changes with the district, with the registration cycles, which had a lot of effects. But just to give one bit of it, one example of the impact, for one of our high schools, every single student who left with not only enrolled in the fall, but all but one enrolled full time. And if you could imagine having 98% of our students enrolled full time, what an impact that would have on their completion rate. So it's absolutely terrific event. We'll keep building on it, but absolutely wonderful. The second one is I have some good news. The California Community College Chancellor's Office selected Nino Stromberg at Valley College as the Classified Employee of the Year.
Right.
Nino does an absolutely amazing job helping students in our CalWorks program, always looking out for anyone who needs help, going above and beyond. So we're thrilled that she was recognized by the state. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Good afternoon, trustees, Chancellor, and Trustee Callahan. It's been a while since August when we did that training, and I just want to congratulate you on all your future endeavors. Regarding trade tech, we have our enrollment for senior day on May 16th, and we're anticipating over 600 incoming and prospective students. So we look forward to assisting them with their enrollment for summer and fall. You may have seen coverage of our 35th annual Job, Career, and Resource Expo last week on Good Day LA. They did 4 live shots from us. We hosted 1,023 job seekers at the event with over 60 employers and 11 community resources in attendance. During the event, Trade welcomed the nonprofit organization Your Image 2020, which distributed more than 300 pieces of professional clothing to those interviewing for jobs. One guest found his very first suit that he's ever had in his life, and he immediately sent a photo to his mother, who said she was very, very proud of him. And then finally, I want to close with the fact that I had the privilege of attending a concert last night at Los Angeles City College in honor of Dr. Mary Gallagher. And I just want to say, the streams of Dancing Queen are still playing in my head.
Yeah.
President Vela, First Vice President Henderson, Second Vice President Eno, Chancellor Rodriguez, and other honorable trustees. I just want to recognize for a moment Kenneth Callahan, our student trustee. Thank you for your service. Certainly, thank you for all that you've done, not only for the district, but in specific for Southwest College. You were the tip of the spear in getting the HBCU recognition, and we will always appreciate the work that you did. Want to share with the Board of Trustees, Southwest College continues to show strong recovery. Last Friday on April the 28th, we had a CTE dual enrollment activity. Want to appreciate Dr. Amos, Dean Perez, Carlos Perales, one of our counselors, and also Dean Jones. 414 students representing 11 high schools were on our campus, 56 volunteers and 7 presenters. It was a wonderful showing. The students showed high interest in attending Southwest College. We continue to invite our community and our feeder schools back into our college, and they are showing up in droves. And so we appreciate all the hard work that has been shown. Also, I want to express a shout out to our ASO. Had a wonderful praise fest, our faith-based community on April the 22nd on Saturday night. Lady Eva J, rather, I'm sorry.
was there, and the theater was packed with our community friends and family. I want to give a shout out to Dr. Robert Juan Camacho and Angel Bermudez, our student president, did an outstanding job in partnering with our community to continue to re-engage our community and invite the community to Southwest. Seriously, the community is back in community college at Southwest. I also want to end with this, and this is also among the wonderful celebrations of our AAPI community and also our Hispanic community. This is also Mental Health Awareness Month. And so we want to recognize something that happened that was so special on April the 28th, that Friday night. Had an opportunity to attend a showing from our theater's art program, our 6-time award-winning theater arts program. Looking forward to their 7th as they are in San Diego right now, putting on this play. The title of the play is Afraid of Me. In that play, they demonstrated through their art and performance the various mental illnesses. I can't say enough how powerful it was to see the mental illnesses acted out on the stage by our students, being directed by Professor Evans and the rest of the faculty. Surely we appreciate them. And since I am somewhat of a connoisseur of plays, witnessing the various plays at the Pasadena Theater, as well as many in the Hollywood theaters, I saw students who demonstrated the level of talent that people pay hundreds of dollars to go see at Southwest College. This is the level of the quality of the students and the programs that are there. I'm looking forward to them bringing home the 7th award-winning plaque, if you will, from San Diego. But the most important thing is they gave voice to those who have no voice when it comes to mental illness. Let us recognize that as well. Thank you for all the work that they have done, and thank you for supporting us.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Dr. Culpepper. Hi,
Good
President Aguirre.
Good afternoon, President Vela, trustees, and Chancellor. And I want to give special thanks to Student Trustee Callahan on behalf of the Pierce team. Thank you so much for your service. I want to just share with you the exciting moments that we had on Tuesday morning with the director, Prabhakar, from the White House, Office of Science and Technology. She is the advisor to President Biden. She truly loved our students, and our students did a tremendous job. They were showing experiments, they were talking, and really just highly engaging. And I want to thank the Chancellor for being there and Maria Veloz for participating and supporting this event. It was absolutely lovely. We also hosted our 2nd annual Assembly Member Gabriel's Day of Service. I want, of course, Mayor Karen Bass was there as shown on the newsletter, but I want to give a special shout out to Trustee Hoffman and Maria Veloz. They were out there putting dirt into pots, planting plants. We used a pitchfork, okay, for the mulch that we were placing all around the plants. We had a great time. And yes, we were full of dirt and exhausted at the end of the day. So it was a lot of fun. And also a real last minute, we just found out that the submission for the program, community program that used to be previously known as earmarks, our alignment of credit with military training has been forwarded by Senator Padilla to appropriations. So keep your fingers crossed, okay? Thank you. And it's for $1.8 million.
Thank you so much. President Ornelas.
Hi, good afternoon, President Vela, members of the board, Chancellor Rodriguez. Want to start off by sharing with you that we had a successful event on Saturday. Our Food and Wine Festival raised just over $100,000. Yes, we're really excited. we had close to 500 attendees, and I really want to thank those of you who joined us, VP Henderson, Chancellor Rodriguez, Trustee Veres, Trustee Hernandez, Trustee Hoffman. Thank you so much for joining us. So yeah, you know, the campus is still buzzing. Just a lot of excitement for being able to host just our community, our students, our campus community as well. So thank you so much. Our culinary team in particular, got to give a huge shout out to them. Just had the theme was street food of LA, and just had an abundance of food to share, and just they really outdid themselves. So just a few other shout outs. I want to recognize our softball team made it to the playoffs. And yes, amazing. And our coach, our softball coach actually recently shared with me that he's just reached his 100th win at LA Mission College. So great accomplishment there. And then finally, I would like to invite you to our annual Aslan graduation, which is sponsored by our MECHA organization, where they'll have their own cultural graduation, and that'll be taking place on May 25th. So thank you all. And thanks for your time.
Thank you so much, and thanks to the board members that attended. All right. Are there any members of the public signed up to address the Board of Trustees? Yeah. Okay, yes, we do. We have, first up is going to be Ms. Aling Esangas. Come on up.
Good afternoon. I'm here to speak on agenda item F5. Thank you for highlighting International Workers' Day. My name is Linga Sanga with the American Federation of State, County, and Municipal Employees, AFSCME. AFSCME represents over 1.4 million public and private sector workers throughout the United States, including the District of Columbia and Puerto Rico. Here in the city and county of Los Angeles, we roughly represent 20,000 members. In March, members of CMA filed with PERB to be recognized with AFSCME to have a seat at the table. And as of yesterday, PERB provided a final determination, and I quote, "Because AFSCME has evidenced majority support, recognition must be granted unless the district doubts the appropriateness," end quote. In the spirit of International Workers' Day, our hope that the district does the right thing. Be the labor champions. Be our ally and recognize AFSCME. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Ms. Leila Menzies.
See, I'm gonna have to lower this. I'm always too short. Does that gather it now? Okay. So I'm Leila Menzies. I'm a retired Vice President of Administrative Services and the President Emeritus of the Classified Management Association. I'm here also to speak in regards to International Workers' Day, as we are here in our efforts as classified managers to be recognized in a union, the AFSCME, who we believe will bring great strength to the district. I was very proud of the 29 plus years that I worked at LACCD. I wish I could say I was always proud of the way that the classified managers were treated. It's the lack of consistency that has bothered me over the years. We just can't seem to find some equitable issues to be resolved. And I'm going to mention one that the Board of Trustees probably has not even heard about. A number of years ago, a 20-year longevity incentive was offered to all the employees, with including unclaimed. So no union has done this. But the groups that were left out are the unrepresented confidential, like your staff on the trustees, and the unrepresented classified managers. It's incomprehensible to me that everybody else, including unclaimed people, would be given this. And we pointed this out to HR, and we pointed this out to the Personnel Commission. We've tried to find some way to say, wouldn't it be equitable for us to get this? So my daddy was a strong labor man. He worked in Inland Steel and at Douglas Aircraft in Long Beach. And one of the things he told me when I first became a manager was, well, nobody ever unionizes if management is treating them right. So I took that as my charge as a manager to try to make sure I always treated all of the workers right. So I'm here speaking to say, this is your opportunity to treat the classified managers right and deal with many of these lack of equity issues. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Okay, are there any more on matters on the agenda? Okay. All right, let's go ahead and go to reports from the board. Due to the over 10 reports, I do ask that our board members, if they could please report out in a succinct manner. First off, let's go ahead with Trustee Bettis. Please summarize the proceedings of the Facilities and Master Planning and Oversight Committee chaired on April 19th.
Thank you, Mr. President here. The committee heard 3 items, and we'll go over one of the items was a little bit longer in various levels, so forgive me, and I'll point to the minutes for those that have more questions or follow-up questions here. But the first item was an introduction discussion to land banking as a concept and potential utilization by the district. It was an item that thought to model examples at the LA Unified District in Los Angeles County, and was requested to have some legal feedback and a preparation to come back to the committee. So just a heads up, and potentially some additional conversations to make its way to the rest of the board in a future. Secondly, was a round and robust agenda item that was called innovation. Principally, and like I said, that's the one that's much more complicated, but it was a conversation about our maintenance and operations and standards, and essentially the computerized maintenance management system that was able to assess and organize and sort of be a little bit more predictive on how to maintain our facilities in the highest possible standards. So we reviewed things like Fusion and DIM and GIS and how it's all integrated to our vast collection of buildings. And then the third was there was a presentation on the construction management program structure. And some of that, if we know colleagues, we've had a chance to accept college project teams for the past year. There's currently a bench, get the word wrong, Dr. Smith, but a bench MATOC process that's currently underway, and certainly to review the timeline and process for project management office, which is runs cycle, since we have a long-standing and mature program, tends to run cycle and tends to have to go out to recompete so often. And so those were the major items, and of course a list of active projects and construction projects were also available and filed and received and available for the public to review.
Thank you so much, Trustee Bettis, for your chairmanship. Trustee Eno, Vice President Eno, please summarize the proceedings of the Legislative and Public Affairs Committee that you chaired on April 19th.
Yes, thank you so much. So we met on the 19th as well. I'm happy to say that AB 605, the Ethnic Studies Bill, as well as AB 1096, the Native Language Instruction, had passed unanimously out of the committee. And so that's great news. I also want to thank the Chancellor, faculty, President Roman, Maria, as well as the legislative teams that lobby for us, as well as Ben, for all of the great work that we've been doing at the state level. We've been able to move things through pretty successfully. And so that's pretty much it for now. Thank you.
Appreciate you chairing that committee. Trustee Hoffman, please summarize the proceedings of the Budget and Finance Committee that you chaired on April 19th.
Thank you, President Vela. We reviewed the underwriting syndicate for the sale of bonds, which we are going to recommend today for approval by the full board, which you will see under consent calendar item L3. And I do see that we have Joanna Bose from KNN Public Finance. We have Michael Mejia and Fernando Guerra, your wonderful Pledge of Allegiance leader, other duties as assigned here today as well if we have questions when we get to the item. And we also have bond counsel David Kasnoka here on Zoom, I believe. So if there are questions when we get to the item, thank you for being here. Really appreciate it. Thank you for being here in person. Good to see you. We also got an enrollment update. We looked at the 5-year expenditure projections that actually came to the board last month, but we had a more detailed explanation because we had committee members that wanted to dive a little bit deeper. And we received our annual expenditure and cost per FTES data book. And I don't know if the full board got a copy of that booklet, but if you want one, I'm sure we can get one to you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Trustee Hoffman. Trustee Eno, please summarize the proceedings of the Chancellor's Advisory Committee for Asian Pacific Islander.
Yes, to acknowledge API Heritage Month, I wanted to make sure that we met in April to understand all of the fun and great activities all of the college and the district is doing for the PETA folks. It was interesting because it was right after a board meeting where we really acknowledged that the enrollment numbers for Asian Americans, Pacifica, and Filipino students particularly was on the decline. So Maury, our data person, was able to identify some points of maybe where some of that loss was. So that was really great. We also talked about how we plan to address this in the future, and a lot of the numbers were down due to lack of international students returning post-COVID. So maybe that's a pocket, but with the in-language learning of Chinese, Mandarin, Vietnamese, and Korean coming, hopefully that'll be an additional way for us to increase some of our metrics for our API folks. I'd like to highlight also that we are having our inaugural APITA graduation May 27th. So hopefully mark your calendars. It should be a fun, we're still in the process of planning, but I think it's definitely going to be a party. And it's party celebration rather than formal sit down. So it should be a good time, hopefully some good food. We're working on that. And just to celebrate students. And so again, May 27th. Also, I was able to attend Apahi recently, and it was really great to see Harbor College APAS presented with students, staff, faculty, and administration. So LACCD was definitely represented there, and 7 out of the 9 colleges were also able to attend, and that was great support of the Chancellor and our college. So that's pretty much it. I think we're going to look at things in the future. And then thank you to all of the colleges that are planning events for API Heritage Month. If you need a list, Ben created a list for us. So thank you.
Thank you so much. It's really refreshing to hear from, in particular, that community that we serve. So really appreciate the report. Next is going to be Trustee or Vice President Henderson. Can you please summarize the proceedings of the Institutional Effectiveness and Student Success Committee that you chaired on April 9th?
Thank you, President Vela. I will try to make the report short. We meet quarterly, so there is, we discussed a lot. So the committee met on Wednesday, April 19th at 4 p.m. All committee members were present. We heard 3 information items. First off, Vice Chancellor Nicole Albo Lopez and Mr. Maury Pearl provided a very thorough summary of the college plans pertaining to AB 1705 implementation of student supports. We had a receive and file on the update for the web design project from Dr. Carmen Lids. And Vice Chancellor Albo Lopez and Mr. Pearl also provided an enrollment update. And out of that came this very robust discussion, but questions as to how we should start to address our institutional goals with our strategic plan. And with the district's strategic plan, as well as the colleges, in terms of enrollment, the impacts of AB 1705 by specific student demographic. So we did put a little bit extra on Vice Chancellor Albo Lopez's plate, but we know that she can come through. Let's see. And The next IES meeting is scheduled for May 17th at 4 p.m. And the Chancellor's Advisory Committee on Black and African American Student Affairs met virtually on Monday, April 24th at 1:30 p.m. We heard from 3 of our students, and I would love to take a little point of privilege and share a little bit about them. First, we heard from Cecily Sewell, who is an LA Valley College media and screenwriting major. And she's a non-traditional student who has experienced homelessness and as a single parent, but she's planning on a transfer in the fall to Ivy League school, which we're really, really excited about. She also proudly announced that she is an Umoja scholar, and she emphasized how invaluable the Umoja program has been to fostering her academic success, as she is a semifinalist for the Jack Cook Kent Scholarship. We also heard from Emerald Coley, who is an LA Pierce College computer science major, and she also expressed her gratitude for the Umoja program, and specifically Dr. Kalinda McLean, who is the Umoja program coordinator at Pierce, who helped to ensure that she's got on and stayed on the right track academically, and is now working with the Umoja Village to pay it forward. And finally, we heard from Zania Simpson, who is also a computer science major at Pierce College. Go ladies in STEM, who also shared her experiences attending classes during the pandemic and her feelings of isolation, and how the Umoja Village gave her a sense of community, which is really, really important to our students. You know, our student voices were really, really powerful. So we hope to, in our advisory committee, start to have more students come forward and share their stories. We also introduced Dr. Regina Smith, who is the Chancellor's Fellow for Racial Equity and Social Justice. And she had an opportunity to give an overview of her role and how her responsibilities directly address the district's framework for equity and social justice, and some of the work that she's been doing and plans to do. We had a report from our AAOI coordinator, Dr. Nairi Berry, who reported on a workforce development and job fair that was held at LA Mission College in the Career Center. And excuse me, announced that we had several of our justice-involved Black males attend the March A2 Men conference in downtown LA. And their feedback from the conference highlighted the importance of Black male representation, not just in our district, but in all spaces that these gentlemen enter. And we noted that the LACCD was a gold sponsor of the California League Black Student Success Week activities last week. And to remind everyone that the 15th annual Black graduation is scheduled for Thursday, June 1st at First AME Church in Los Angeles. And we are expecting over 300 students to participate. And in sync with some of the concerns that our students shared with us, the Chancellor announced a significant investment in our Black and African American students in keeping with the equity and social justice framework. First off, we have we made the announcement of the Chancellor Fellow for Equity and Social Justice, but announced that the AAOI budget has been increased over the past year to now $600,000 to support programmatic efforts. And we have a total $6 million allocation over the next 3 years. And part of that money, about $450,000, is being allocated to each college, providing $50,000 in matching state funds for our Umoja programs, which is huge. We are hiring 2 district-wide Black and African American Studies faculty, and we will be putting allocations towards API and Native American Indigenous Studies to complement the existing Chicano Latino studies and the few Black and African American Studies courses that we currently offer. So specifics of this are addressed in a district memo that the Chancellor sent out on Tuesday, April 25th. And I think that was it. So it's my report.
Thank you so much, Vice President Henderson. Vice President Henderson, can you also summarize the proceedings of the Chancellor's Advisory Committee
That
for
was it.
Black? Oh, you combined it. Got it. Okay. Well, yeah, that end piece was very, very great that we were able to do that. Trustee Wellen, please summarize the proceedings of the Board Ad Hoc Committee for Advancing in-Language Instruction that you chaired on May 1st.
Thank you very much. And we celebrated May 1st with discussing a revolutionary idea of in language. So we went over a few things. I want to start off with President Culpepper of Southwest mentioned something very important. I think a crescendo where he asked, is there a white paper on what the district is doing district wide? President Culpepper, you didn't think I'd call you out, right? Okay, but there you go. Which was very important because the evolution of the ad hoc committee has moved from what in the world are we talking about to now we're, the statute or 1096 is moving out of committee, it's on the floor. There's been an interaction between the legal counsel of the state legislature. There's been interaction with district academic senate statewide and endorsements of what we're doing. Obviously the LA Times article. 1096 is moving forward. Also in a very important number that came out of the 871 brand new, completely new students enrolled in LACCD because of our in-language classes. Big number, 871. So I'm going to cite Mr. Echeverri, who mentioned as we're looking at how to replenish our student population statewide, looking at it in language is part of the solution. Obviously, the solution, there is not one solution. So I want to thank President Echeverri. There was a discussion with regard to West LA College, had a discussion about the interaction that occurred at West LA with senior staff at West LA, President Limbaugh, Chancellor Rodriguez, and myself with the one credit class. I'm going to call it the one credit class that changed the world and got the majority of our attention because a few things came out of that class. We were told by West LA faculty that in person specifically is important for these in-language classes. Majority of the students had technology issues. West LA College was able to get them technology and connect them with technology. That again hits another policy issue, which is the digital divide. So from this one kind of meeting that we had on Monday, we discussed super high, or not super high enrollment, but significant 871 students, but that those 871 students led to this really an understanding that West LA and this, which led to the conversation with President Culpepper to say, hey, what are the resources or best practices district-wide? And to be fair, the other presidents were present and are doing marvelous work, except we're able to specifically give a narrative to what happened in one particular class. Then specific best practices with regard to billing and an interaction between the state chancellor's office and what is allowable with discussions about audits and audit handbooks. So it's extremely, even though it doesn't, the word audit handbook isn't the most exciting thing in the history of the planet to discuss, but when we're talking about this particular issue, the discussion about audit handbook, it's probably significant and will have a significant effect on our enrollment and to be able to charge for or to bill for these classes. So I leave us with that, but I think those numbers are important for us to understand the context of why AB 1096, and also appreciative of, again, Ms. Nicole Lopez, but our general counsel and our chancellor, who we were all able to really have a much greater understanding of how we're going to move the policy forward after this. So President Vela, thank you very much for the time.
Thank you so much. Appreciate that, Trustee Wellman, your commitment to that. I was not able to attend yesterday's Chancellor's Advisory Committee on LGBT affairs due to a family emergency. However, our great Chancellor attended, and it is your advisory committee. But I wanted to see if you could report out a little bit on it. Thank you.
Yes, happy to, Board President Vela, and appreciate members of the executive staff who were there, as well as many of the college presidents. First thing I wanted to point out is, did you notice the flag up here? Who noticed the flags?
Yeah.
Okay, that's really, I think, a way that we symbolize and demonstrate our commitment to the LGBTQIA plus community, and it really came out of the thinking of the advisory committee as to how we visually support and show allyship for members of our community. Yesterday's meeting, and I want to thank Dean Harrington for really carrying many of these activities. We had reports from the colleges on the one-time $25,000 to support the different LGBTQIA activities for students on each of the campuses. And you may be aware that those resources come from the $10 million one-time funding that the state of California received. The Chancellor's office, from there, several applications were made to retrieve those funds, and we received some of those dollars which are using that to fund this. We are now, as part of our legislative advocacy, made a very clear budgetary request to ensure that that $10 million is there permanently and ongoing. So we're still working on that. These $10 million that we received last year are to support these programs, our mini grant programs at the colleges, which were discussed yesterday. Pierce College also discussed work to support the trans students and employees at Pierce College, which serves as a model, I think, for the rest of the districts. A unique ball update was given. That is, the unique ball is on the May 20th at 2 p.m. at Trade Tech College. Everyone is invited to that. And of course, the Lavender graduation, which is on May the 25th, also in person at Trade Tech College. So that's was a good day, good report. We missed you. We understand why, Mr. Vela, but the work carries on. So thank you so much.
Thank you. And I did want to just briefly thank Vice President Henderson for bringing to us the concept of the ball scene of Los Angeles. You know, it's a very unique cultural expression of LGBT African-American culture where, you know, people have felt safe for years. Recently been popular through shows like Pose and a movie called Paris is Burning. So you know, it's a dance. It's not just a ball for people dancing. It's literally an expression of culture. So thank you, Vice President Henderson. This is you brought this to us, and we appreciate it. And Chancellor and Ms. Salvo Lopez and all of the people that were part of it in organizing it. I know Ms. King was helpful. A lot of people were very helpful. So thank you all. And thank you to Ms. Burke for having it over at Trade Tech. Okay, so we want to go back. Trustee Wella had a couple of reports. Yeah.
Quick correction. Vice Chancellor Lopez sent me a new number. It wasn't actually 871. I apologize. It was 1,030 brand new students from in language.
That's even better. You don't want to mess up on those numbers. Yeah. Well, thank you all. As you can see, the board is extremely busy, so I really want to thank all of you for your leadership and all these committees. Next up is our resolutions. Very, very excited, if not just really warm with joy, to put forward to the Board of Trustees a resolution in appreciation of student trustee Kenneth Callahan. Yeah. First of all, let's go ahead and start with having a motion for this most prestigious event. Moved by Trustee Wellness.
I'll second.
Okay, no, we'll give it to Hoffman. Seconded by Trustee Hoffman.
Or President, I actually do have some amendments I would do want to make to the resolution.
Absolutely, we can
So,
definitely do that.
We have like comment first before we.
Yeah, we will. We will. Okay, so we just had a motion and a second, so let's go ahead and have discussion. We'll start with the very person who's receiving the resolution, trustee Callahan.
Very interesting moment. It's a very, I feel like a lot of things brought me to this point. Dr. Gallagher, you kind of started me on this path when being in student government, and kind of expanded my horizons of what I can really do. But I want to expend like the ultimate, I guess, extend the ultimate thank you to Alan Andriosian, who's in the back of the room. He's just sitting there quietly. Without him, I wouldn't have joined student government. I wouldn't even have known, the student trustee position exists. I wouldn't even know there was a board of trustees if I didn't, if he didn't push me to get into student leadership. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you, Alan. Second, the whole trustee experience has been like a roller coaster of emotions, from indecisiveness to power to reaffirming myself. And it's been so many different things. I've had incredible highs where I feel like I've achieved great things that I never imagined I could do. And then really crashing lows where sometimes I've had to just go weeks on end where I felt like I wasn't really having an impact in the position that I was in. And sometimes I would even have to estrange my own family members to focus on my position. And that was very, I guess that goes into like another realm as far as like mental health for students and the effects of leadership. I've had to drop classes, and I failed many in the process of trying to hold this position and be the best representative I could. And at the end of the day, I made it to the end. I never thought I would actually be here. The intent, to be completely honest, was to, I guess, was it resign in like I guess by the end of fall, but I actually saw value in this position that I really wanted to see it through. So here I am. As far as the actual resolution itself, I do want to note that there are some things that I did achieve within my term that aren't highlighted here that I do want to add. And I say this specifically because I feel like if the next student trustee, if they want to have a better idea of what can be achieved, I think this should be shared with them, because I had really no idea what the previous trustee prior to me achieved during her term, and what exactly I should be expecting, what should be expected of me, or what I should be aiming to do. Because I've done a lot of things, I've attempted a lot of things, but majority of the time, 90% of it was just kind of throwing darts and hoping they stick. So what I would like to add, as far as the whereas, I would like to add a point that acknowledges the advocacy I did for more student trustee rights, such as increasing the stipend that we get monthly, potentially, or the discussions that we had as far as having the right to first, when making a motion, and having the right to go to closed session, even though much of those were still in discussion. It was still a conversation that I had started, and I want that to be emphasized to the next student trustee. Next, I would like to add the work that I did with our district-wide sheriff's department. That was something that I did very early in my term, and thanks to the conversations that I started, the plan that they're currently working on now is being implemented district-wide, and it's including students and how they handle assessing the safety process. And none of that would have been started if I didn't have the conversation. Like literally, I reached out to them. We had a meeting at ELAC, and the first thing they told me was that it's been like, what, 3-4 years? I forget what he said. It was like something 3-4 years since a trustee on the board ever directly reached out to them to have a conversation regarding safety. And I want that to be emphasized on this resolution. That's something that I achieved, or that I did for the district. Next, I would like to add, advocating for the improved conditions of staff and faculty. Throughout my term, I've been very vocal about the issues regarding understaffing throughout the district and many of the problems that our staff and faculty have been coming to each and every one of these board meetings talking about. And sometimes you like hear them saying the same things over and over again, where it's like, when is this going to get addressed? And I've been, vocal at as many board meetings as I could talking about it, because it is a real problem, because it's not just staff that are suffering by proxy. The students who are at the colleges, and I've seen like clear examples of this, understaffing or poor conditions of staff directly affect student outcomes at our colleges. And that's something that seriously needs to be addressed. And unfortunately, I wasn't able to do much on that front, but I do want that conversation at least on the mind of the next student trustee, and to stay within the realm of concerns for our current board. Next was something I did very late, which was talking about the travel ban that recently happened last month, which was banning, which was AB 1887, which was banning the travel to any states that has any laws that are discriminatory to specific groups. And the issue with that is that we have partnerships with colleges like HBCUs and other states, that the state does have those, they do adopt those laws, but by proxy that limits our students here in California, their ability to go on tours and experience other colleges and that they may want to be transferring to. So, it's limiting access to some of our student demographics. I want that to be, even though there are ways that we can practically address that, no, we have to come up with a plan on how we're going to, address the travel ban. And that's something that I want to, again, I want the next student trustee to be aware of. And then as far as things that I want to be acknowledged, that's pretty much it. And then as a result, I do want this, when we do figure out the next student trustee, we will be finding out on the 12th, next Friday, for the next Student Affairs Committee meeting. I want this resolution to be sent to them solely so that they have an idea of, what can a student trustee do? There are many things that I have done that I didn't list, but with what's on this resolution, this is what a student trustee can do. Yeah, that's pretty much that. Again, thank you to everybody who supported me with this whole process. It's been very, very mentally taxing. It's been very challenging, but overall it's been a very enlightening and enriching experience. I thank you all, the board members. You all have taught me something directly or indirectly, and you're all, amazing people. And again, to staff, faculty, administration, who have, for all the hard work that you do. Thank you. And yeah, just anybody else has anything else to say?
Well, thank you so much for, this just shows you the caliber of student who is requesting a friendly amendment to his own resolution. To me, that just shows, where you're heading. With that being said, if there's not any objection, I would like to accept the friendly amendment from Student Trustee Callahan. So hearing no objection, okay, friendly amendment accepted. I would love to, go ahead and now ask if there are any comments, discussion regarding this amazing resolution. So I'll start with my right.
Thank you very much. Had the opportunity to be president while he was student trustee, and thank you for always being thoughtful, deliberate in your opinions and thoughts. So appreciate it.
we also kind of came on around the same time. I might have had couple months before you, but I think it's been a really great process to learn and see all the work that you've done on behalf of students. I also got to attend a couple of your student leadership meetings, which was really great as well. And know that you always have support with me on your path in the future and for the students that come after you. So thank you for helping pave the way.
Kenneth. Wow. It's hard to believe that it's been a year already. This guy right here is so intentional and thoughtful. He is fearless. And he is, I can't say enough positive things about him. Just, he is a go-getter extraordinaire, and it has been absolutely amazing to watch him, his growth as a student trustee, as a student, soon to be graduate, and to work with him. He keeps us on our toes. Today is just a small inkling as to the way that he keeps us on our A game, but he has forced us to think and be really, really intentional about the decisions that we make, how we make them, and the fact that we're making decisions for students, and we should always do that with a student voice in the space. So Kenneth, thank you.
Okay, we go ahead, Trustee Hoffman.
Thank you. Well, student trustee Callahan, I think your legacy is going to live on. I interact with lots and lots of students up and down the state. So from the student trustee at Glendale College who came to me and said, oh my gosh, you have the most amazing student trustee in LA, to our student trustee representative on the Community College League Board of Trustees, Viviana. She talks very highly about you as well. To the two members that I sit with when I go to consultation council from the statewide student senate. You've made an impact on everyone. All students, not just students in LACCD, seem to know who you are and know the quality of your work. And so I'm sure you're going to go forward and do great things. And it was a pleasure working with you on this board. Good luck.
Student trustee Callahan, we talked about previously, we didn't have as much time, on the board since I'm pretty new, but I mean, just from all the comments of all the other board members, you seem to be such a talented individual. You have 2 years at UCLA now really dig into, and just know that, I think I speak for everyone here. If there's anything that you need or any sort of reference, please do not hesitate to come knocking. Good luck.
Student trustee. Congratulations, first of all. It's a great year. It was fantastic to watch you demonstrate your kind of leadership. And it was a leadership I wish I had as a student as well. Sometimes I was more behind the scenes of stuff than in front of the scenes. It takes lots of courage to be able to get up in a mic and state your points and stand strong. Succeeding through school and being a great leader kind of have, in my mind, a couple things in common. One, there's an absolute grind. You gotta just marshal through, be present, show up, do your thing, and you've done that all year. And then the second is, and this is where the value comes, is to not be afraid to be disruptive and not be afraid to challenge the status quo, because it hasn't worked well for people of color through the years. And it often needs somebody to stand there and remind folks that this education system is the greatest equalizer for equity that we can have, and it needs to serve everyone. So for all the words, you've carried that consistently. You've been through the grind, and I know you're going to grind my alma mater, and believe me, it pays dividends to be a student that grinds and disrupts. So thank you, and best wishes on that.
Thank you so much, Trustee Vettis. Trustee Callahan, I recently came upon Michelle Obama speaking to an interviewer about our youth, and her best advice was, that same passion we have as youth, we also have to have a plan. And to me, you are that person that has that passion to push the boundaries, but you don't come without an actual action plan attached to it. You do. And so when you brought up to the board, all of the various compensation, equity, representation, the need for us looking at security from a student's perspective, you actually brought a plan and you shared it with us. And that to me is a whole nother level of leadership that is gonna take you to all these places. Because I really feel that it's one thing to have the courage to stand up to power, and then it's another thing to architect what that power should do. And you have that ability. And honestly, I could tell you at your state in life, I didn't have that, I just shouted sometimes, as a Chicano or activist or whatever, LGBT activist, I just shouted and I had no plan. But you know what? You do. And to me, that's a quintessential value and component of being a very good leader. Not just being a leader, anyone could get elected, but you're a good leader. And I want you to remember that as you move forward, because you're going to definitely have so much success. And just your makeup of where you come from and who you are is, to me, I know we have that in common, and I know what you've been through. So I'm just extremely proud to have served with you as my equal, my colleague, and I really appreciate you. I really do. With that being said, I will again end discussion now, and let's go ahead and take a roll call on the resolution with the friendly amendments.
Student
Yeah,
trustee
roll call.
Callahan advisory vote,
Yes.
trustee Boulna,
Yes.
trustee Henderson,
Yes.
trustee Hernandez,
Yes.
trustee Hoffman, trustee Eno,
Yes.
trustee Vella,
Yes.
trustee Vettis.
All right, motion passes, and we have the chancellor who's gonna come up and present you with something. Chancellor.
Yes, the student trustee Callahan, please stand. We're gonna have you come to the front and be accompanied by Board President Vella. We want to recognize you.
Actually, if you don't mind, I would like all the trustees to come
Oh,
up.
that's fine.
Yeah, let's do it.
As a demonstration of our respect and admiration, we'd like to present you with two framed mementos of our deep, profound respect. One is a resolution, and we'll amend that and get a framed copy to you, but also a certificate of appreciation. So let's go up front here so we can take a picture here, please.
Can't leave yet, by the way. One more round of applause, please, for our student trustee. Okay, let's go on to resolution number 2, reaffirming the role of student trustee pursuant to Education Code Section 720235. May I have a motion, a second on F2?
So moved.
So
Second.
moved by Hoffman, second by VP Eno. Any discussion? Mr. Callahan, any discussion?
And this is adding the motion to, or the right to second a motion, correct?
Correct. Yeah, go ahead.
Members of the board, this is,
Go ahead.
Oh, no, go ahead, Chancellor.
to say that at this time of the year in May, before and as the student trustee elections are occurring, as they're occurring now, this is the language, the terms and conditions, if you will, for which a new student trustee comes on. So it's an annual review of the responsibilities of the student trustee. And you see there's some of the new language that's been adopted for some of the discussions that we've had.
Okay, any issues or more discussion?
I would say no discussion on my part.
Trustee Vella or Chair Vella, can I just
Yeah.
make one quick comment?
Let's have it.
I just want this board to know, maybe we already do, but we've been discussing the rights of student trustees at the state level with the league, because there's been a movement from the student senate and from the student trustee group to make sure that all students in the state get to have the rights and privileges that we already offer our student trustee here in LACCD. We pay our student trustee, and there are many districts that don't pay their student trustee. We allow our student trustee to have an advisory vote and to introduce motions and seconds, and many districts don't do that. Many districts don't even call on their student trustee first for the advisory vote. So I want to applaud you, student trustee Callahan, because you really fought hard, not only to make sure that we continued to do that in this district, but you fought hard for students throughout the state so that they could speak out at their own districts and bring this issue statewide. And I know there's a bill, a pending bill that would codify this into law. So I want to again commend you. Thank you.
I guess the only comment that I will have is that I was definitely a part of those conversations and, getting these same rights for all student trustees across the district. But I do want to extend that effort to Viviana and her and to the other student trustees who have also been pushing this forward. They have been a much stronger voice on that front than I have been. And I want to acknowledge that. Again, it's just seeing how the student trustee position is kind of evolving and just making sure that students know that as a board member, they have that same power and they have the same rights as any other trustee member. And that should be uniform throughout the state. But again, I do want to extend that to Viviana and the other student trustees across the state, because they're the ones who are really spearheading this effort. So.
Absolutely, thank you. Any other discussion? Hearing none, let's go ahead and do a roll call vote.
Student trustee Callahan's advisory vote.
Yes.
Trustee Boulna.
Yes.
Trustee Henderson.
Yes.
Trustee Hernandez.
Yes.
Trustee Hoffman.
Yes.
Trustee Eno.
Yes.
Trustee Vella.
Yes.
Trustee Vettis.
Yes.
Okay, motion passes. Resolution 3 is in celebration of Asian Pacific American Heritage Month. Can I have a motion and a second?
So moved.
Moved
Second.
by Eno, seconded by Henderson. Any discussion?
Can I just make a couple comments?
VP Eno, yes.
Well, and then actually, I also have a friendly amendment. If it's possible in one of the whereas, if we could add myself as one of the API trustees into the list, that would be great. But I think just in general, I'd also like to thank APITA for putting this resolution together. I think it started a year ago and it has really good content. And if you look at the number, who it represents, it's pretty crazy. It's 50 ethnic groups and over 100 dialects. So for us to acknowledge that and try to look not only as the most represented, but the ones that aren't always visibly represented, we want to acknowledge all of them as well. And hopefully we can find ways to celebrate them. So thank you for this resolution.
Trustee, just
VP
point of
Eno, yes.
clarification. Just want to make sure you don't want to recognize yourself as a former trustee, which is what the list is. That's what it says, but
Oh, never mind then.
we could certainly recognize you as a trustee.
I guess when I vacate the position, I would like to be added.
No, but I think there's language that we can state on our current serving. So if we can note it, just to clarify that amendment. 'cause
No, I
hate to list
appreciate
you as
that.
former prematurely.
And not normally, but representation does matter. And so I'm very proud to sit on this board representing the APITA community.
Okay, great. So the friendly amendment, is there any objection to Vice President Eno's friendly amendment? Hearing none, let's go ahead and adopt that friendly amendment. And any more discussion? Any more discussion? Okay, hearing none, roll call, please.
Student trustee Kellen has advisory vote.
Yes.
Trustee Boulna.
Yes.
Trustee Henderson.
Yes.
Trustee Hernandez. Trustee Hoffman.
Yes.
Trustee Eno.
Yes.
Trustee Vella.
Yes.
Trustee Vettis.
Yes.
Okay, motion passes. Next is the Mexican American Chicano Heritage Week and recognition of Cinco de Mayo. May I have a motion and a second on item F4?
So moved.
Moved by VP Henderson,
Second.
second by VP Eno. Any discussion or comments?
I just wanted to mention and just reiterate, Mexican American Chicanos are the largest ethnic group within LACCD, so it's important to articulate this particular recognition. Cinco de Mayo is an interesting holiday. I'm not going to get into the history of that. Did that 4 years ago, but I just wanted to thank you for putting this on the agenda.
Thank you so much, Trustee Wellnut. Any further discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Student trustee Kellen has advisory vote.
Yes.
Trustee Boulna.
Yes.
Trustee Henderson.
Yes.
Trustee Hernandez.
Yes.
Trustee Hoffman.
Yes.
Trustee Eno.
Yes.
Trustee Vella.
Yes.
Trustee Vettis.
Yes.
Okay. Next is recognition of International Workers' Day. May I have a motion and a second on F5? Moved by Muella,
Second.
seconded by VP Henderson. Any discussion? Yes, VP Eno?
Yes, as a labor leader myself, I would just like to thank the board for acknowledging International Workers' Day, and I also applaud the folks trying to organize and know that you have support. And hopefully, if we're doing our jobs right, as mentioned before, we don't necessarily need these situations, but they're very important. To have organized labor groups are very important, and I think the district with the PLA and how we hire and look at our partnerships, we really have an emphasis on labor. So I really like this. Thank you.
Trustee Vella, may I?
Yeah, Trustee Wellnut.
Yeah, I do. I think I want to acknowledge the comments by 1521A. We should have recognized 1521A, and we should sometimes just acknowledge and self-admonish ourselves for not doing that. I should have done that last year. This year should have happened. Next year's president should clearly make sure that recognition is there. Sometimes we just have to admit it. Correct, and we were incorrect by not doing that.
Completely agree. Any more discussion? Yeah, Trustee Helen.
So, for those of you who maybe came out to the march on Monday, thank you. That was an amazing event. International Workers' Day. No, it's not just something that's important to our community, in the LACCD, that's something that it's important to know workers across the nation and across the world. And specifically following the theme of International Workers' Day this year, at least in Los Angeles, empowering our undocumented workers. We have many throughout the district. Many of our student workers are also undocumented. And it's a constant battle for them to gain the rights they need to truly, thrive here in Los Angeles. And I just wanted to acknowledge that. And yeah, it's amazing that we're having this.
Thank you, Trustee Callahan. Any further discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Student trustee Callahan is advisory vote.
Yes.
Trustee Buona,
Yes.
trustee Henderson,
Yes.
trustee Hernandez, trustee Hoffman, trustee Eno,
Yes.
trustee Vella,
Yes.
trustee Vettis.
Yes.
Okay, motion passes. Next is resolution on condemning gun violence. May I have a motion on F6?
Second.
Okay, moved, moved by VP Eno, seconded by Trustee Buona. Any discussion?
Yes, I'd like to add some comments to this also.
Okay,
I really appreciate all the resolutions today. I think I usually don't talk a whole lot, but these were pretty meaningful to me. I'd first like to thank Crystal, Julia, and Dr. Nish for helping put this all together. I think there was one in the past, but it wasn't as robust as this. And so I really appreciate our teamwork and collaborative effort to put something together to start. I'm currently wearing an orange pin with the US flag, and it identifies that we definitely need to look at gun reform and creating safe spaces, particularly what we do as Board of Trustee members for our college campus and culture. And that not only is physical safety, but mental mental awareness and support and things like that. And so the resolution originally was 6 pages, but we were able to get it down to something workable and something that we can add to as the future, as we work towards the future. But I think really just acknowledging our ability to advocate in this capacity and across campus to know that we need change. And so hopefully we can support that on behalf of our students, our own individual safety, and just to look out for future generations. Thank you.
I'm sorry, Vice President, did you say you had a friendly amendment? Oh, no, okay,
Just want
sorry.
to say thank you to everyone that
Oh,
helped.
okay, sorry. Okay, Trustee Buona?
I would request if we could have I think it's important to acknowledge the stabbings that that occurred, and I know that over the years we have invested significant amount of funds in safety and warlocks and trainings. It would be helpful to have just a 5-minute presentation, an update on what is happening with regard to our drills, specific timeline, right? What is happening with those campuses in light of stabbings at UC Davis? So just not violence, in terms of violence and how we're dealing with that, just so we as a board know that at the next board meeting, when the actual previous drill occurred, and if we could get some type of chart, like what did that drill entail? Did that drill entail gun violence, stabbings? Did it include the, gun violence active shooter? But just so the public could see that we did, right? And have that, because I think it's occurring way too often. And I hope that our prevention strategies are preventing it, hopefully with this discussion. But I'm going to add that to, it's not an amendment. I'm just in support, saying in support of this. And I would request that presentation and that chart with those specifics to the board. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Trustee Buona. Any more discussion? Here, sorry, to my left, let's start with Trustee Vettis and then Trustee Hoffman.
I don't mean to prolong this any longer because it's pretty clear cut, I think, where we want to go, but I do believe the Academic Senate, and I think certainly the East LA college community, had a conversation about the shootings in Monterey Park this past January. And if there's a way to include and acknowledge that act of violence, and obviously it was considered a mass shooting and literally 10 minutes from our campus, right down the street in community space. But to, understand, I think we had a presidential visit there not too long ago, and there's a lot that is connected not only on campus, but immediately off campus too, that we should understand that we're advocating for improvements in gun safety. I guess I would also say that I think the state of California has done fairly well in terms of its legislation and rules, and most of this challenge, belongs to the federal government. So I think it would be obviously best to communicate that to our federal representatives more than anything. The progress that needs to be made is at that level, and there's plenty of work that's been done at the local and the state levels. So certainly acknowledge that and keep that going. But I think they're reaching limits in terms of what to do now. The next steps are really federal steps.
Yes, thank you so much, Trustee Vettis. Would you like to have a friendly amendment adding the incident in the city of Monterey Park, detailing our condemning of that occurrence in order for us to share it with the East Los Angeles community at a later time? Also, maybe copy some of the council members and up towards, the state legislature and Congress. I know that they were extremely shook, and our students were also, and President Roman is here to attest, were part of, having, discussions on mental health and so on and so forth. So I don't know if that's something you're interested in
Maybe
doing.
if we could just say that we can also acknowledge and understand and commemorate those lives on June.
And then
12th.
President Roman perhaps can present a copy of that resolution to the Monterey Park Council or something like that. Okay. Trustee Hoffman.
Thank you. I don't want to prolong the meeting any longer than it needs to be either on this topic, but thank you for bringing this forward. A few years ago, I think when I was board president, and there was a report of someone with a gun at Pierce College. I do remember I was called by parents of students who were scared. I don't remember all the details now, but we did bring forward a resolution. So maybe we can take a look at that resolution again and maybe bring that one forward, because that specifically spoke to safety on our campuses. And I know one of the college presidents just mentioned that they had an active shooter training at Harbor. So thank you, Dr. Dorado. And I do know that they're renaming those trainings like active killer trainings, because recognizing that there are multiple ways to address your stabbing issue. Anyway, thank you for bringing this forward. I think it's really important. And
It is, and thank you for bringing that up. If there's no objection to adding the friendly amendment, recognizing the incident in Monterey Park, we'll go ahead and add that, and then we'll bring back in a later time the resolution that Trustee Hoffman spoke about. Any further discussion? Okay, let's go ahead and do a roll call.
Student trustee Callahan's advisory vote.
Yes.
Trustee Buona.
Yes.
Trustee Henderson.
Yes.
Trustee Hernandez. Trustee Hoffman.
yes.
Trustee Eno.
Yes.
Trustee Vella.
Yes.
Trustee Vettis.
Yes.
Okay, motion passes. Next is our report from the Chancellor. Chancellor.
Thank you, Board President, members, colleagues. You go ahead and move forward. Let me share perhaps just a couple of initial thoughts on the campus safety and security discussion that just occurred. About 10 days ago, I had the opportunity to visit for the first time with the newly elected County Sheriff, Robert Luna. Excellent discussion where I had the opportunity to go over our contract expectations, the elements of the contract that deals with de-escalation, community policing, having an unarmed element of our police force, taking over the cadet programs, and just general service and whatnot. So I wanted to respond and share with this board that the responsiveness of Sheriff Luna was excellent. He had members of his team who were there that will ensure the successful implementation of the contract that we have in place, and we committed to future conversations. So I just wanted to share that the transition with the county sheriff has gone very well and is very knowledgeable of our interests and our needs. I also wanted to share that our commanding officer, Captain Gannon, was promoted within the organization. So we have an acting captain now, and we will shortly let the board know who the captain of our community college bureau is shortly. So I wanted to start there. So let's move on with the next part of our slides. I've got just a couple of slides of this this afternoon. One is relates to, I'll say a little bit more about AAPI Heritage Month, and you heard from the college presidents the amount of activities, programs, and ways that we're elevating and celebrating, as well as bringing forth some of the issues that continue to impact our AAPI community. So again, commend our college presidents for putting together resources and programs to educate all persons at LACCD, say a little bit about our commencement and celebrations that are coming up, and highlight two of the recent visits, and then end with an enrollment update. So as we celebrate this month as the Asian Pacific Islander Heritage Month, I wanted to call out and really commend Trustee Eno for leading the delegation of LACCD members to the APAHI conference. Not aware, APAHI, the Asian Pacific Americans in Higher Education, founded by Dale Shimasaki, our former advocate at the state level, is probably the premier professional development and advocacy group for our API colleagues throughout the state. And we had several participate. We've been a significant contributor as a sponsor to that for many years now. And our college presidents and members of their team, we were able to sponsor several people from our district to attend the 2-3-day conference in the Bay Area just last weekend. So I wanted to let the board know that this continues to be an outlet for us in a way that we support our AAPI CEOs, trustees, and others who would support the development of our leaders in that particular area. So Trustee, thank you for leading that delegation. You sent several pictures. I was happy to receive those. And I wanted to point out that one of my personal friends, brothers, Santa Rosa, retiring Santa Rosa Junior College President CEO, Frank Chong, is retiring, and he is one of the good ones from our system. So I wanted to recognize Dr. Chong for his extraordinary leadership when he was at Laney College as president and also a superintendent at Santa Rosa JC. So I wanted to note that before the record. Slide, please. These are the different days, and we've given lots of support, treatment, and advocacy for each of these celebrations. I wanted to recognize the multiple members, faculty, staff, administrators, trustees who are involved with the planning of these particular activities. You see, I wanted to mention the culinary arts. This is, I think, the third time that we do this. I understand that the competition will revolve around Southeast Asian flavors. This is 10 days from now. So we invite you to Trade Tech to come on out. This is May 25th. That doesn't sound right to me. Oh, okay. It's the Culinary Cup. That's the 12th. Thank you. So it's in the Culinary Arts. Thank you for that. So, but next week on May the 12th is our Culinary Cup competition. And then you see the celebrations that are going on here. And each of them are in person graduation celebrations. Many of them will take place in announcing the students' names and that sort of thing. And I wanted to point out that the Mi Gente graduation celebration is a little bit different this year. While several hundreds, if not thousands, of individuals are expected to attend that, it's going to be a celebration more like a reception style at Trade Tech College. That was the consensus from the planning committee, of which there are members of the campuses who are part of that. So while we appreciate the activity from last year, which was celebrated beautifully at East Los Angeles College, it could be that we go back to that at some point, but that the celebration this year is more reception style at Trade Tech, and a lot is being done to honor and recognize the students and their parents as part of that annual celebration. So we look forward to you being a part of all these celebrations, whether they're in their first year, like the APITA activity, or whether they're in I think their 13th, 14th year with our African-American Black student graduation celebration over at the First AME Church. So wonderful celebrations. Everyone's invited. You heard in the Dr. and President Aguiar's report related to Pierce College that we had a wonderful visit on Tuesday. And this is a big deal. The board will remember when we visited Washington, D.C., we had a visit at the White House with Director Prabhakar. And at that meeting, we went over our workforce development activities, our movement towards baccalaureate degrees in science, in the STEM fields area, and also how we were really expanding the biotechnology, biomanufacturing, and STEM ecosystem through certificates, degrees, and whatnot. And we extended an invitation for her to visit our colleges and when she came to Los Angeles. Well, she came on Monday and Tuesday to Los Angeles and spent the morning with us there at Pierce College. And I wanted to thank President Aguiar. It was just an outstanding demonstration of community, of academic excellence, of student engagement, and really seeing workforce development at work. We committed to her that we would show how their federal dollar investments were at work. And indeed, with the $2 million that we received from Congressmember Sherman and this pending support that's in the budget now, and other resources that we have received throughout the district from the federal community, from the community project resources, indeed, the federal investments were at work. I think she was incredibly impressed. You had numerous faculty members there. The students are absolutely amazing and always do a great job. So will you thank me in joining thanking the President Aguiar for just putting on an outstanding visit. It was really good. I was very, very, very proud to be part of that. So thank you so much on behalf of the Board of Trustees. That's how you put a visit together from the White House. Thank you so much. Moving on, I wanted to recognize Dr. Armida Ornelas as well. Last weekend, that was a lot of fun. You know, you see our culinary arts programs at work with, 500 or so individuals, engagement, raised, as you heard, and I want to repeat, over $100,000 clear for student scholarships, for the support of the culinary arts program. And what's particularly important here is not just the activity itself, but it brought in neighbors. It brought in other elected officials. Congressmember Tony Cardenas was there. Assemblywoman Luz Rivas was there. Senator Menjivar was there. Local city council members were there, as well as people who lived across the street who said, I've been living here about 40 years. This is my college. I want to underscore that statement is that our colleges are in the center of the communities that they serve. We're perfectly placed and located as cultural hubs. At these colleges, not just are these kinds of activities, on the weekends and weekdays, there are sporting events. There's theater going on. There's a pupusa festival that went on at one of our colleges. I think it was at Pierce last weekend. And so on, swap meets and other car shows that are going on. I simply wanted to extend what perhaps is the obvious, that our colleges are at the center of the heart of our communities. And we should be very, very proud that we have world-class facilities, more on the way. We have grounds, we have staff, we have security as ways to really enrich the experience itself. So Dr. Ornelas, I wanted to thank you and please join me in thanking her for putting on such a wonderful activity. It was fantastic. Community engagement at its best. Okay, I'll end with this last part of the report. Remember, green means good. Arrows going forward means good at this point of the year. So enrollments through these various categories continue to increase. We're still in recovery mode. We're still in restoration mode. We have not yet hit our targets in the areas that we would like to, but the college presidents, you've heard of the tremendous amount of engagement with the senior days, with community events, with ways that we're enrolling students full time, going all out. All seniors from the LAUSD have received a letter of admissions signed by the mayor, signed by the superintendent of LAUSD, assuring their admittance and guaranteeing their acceptance into one of our 9 colleges, along with the other attributes and supports through the College Promise program. So that will continue to occur. We have lots of momentum with the advertising and marketing campaigns. We're pouring resources into advertising, radio, bus ads, into ways we can visually demonstrate the branding of our individual colleges in easy ways through the QR codes to register at our institutions. And we are having specific messages out to particular communities, linguistic communities, cultural communities, at particular events in the community where we're getting the name out. So again, really, really kudos to our college presidents, their outreach teams, the vice presidents. And I think Dr. Gribbons mentioned something earlier about moving the calendar and adjustment. While that comment may have gone by very, very quickly. I wanted to point out the work of Dr. Alba Lopez and you working with our academic senate, the support of Dr. Chevity, our Vice President of Instruction, Student Services. We adjusted our calendar so that we could accommodate to do exactly what Dr. Gribbins talked about. You enter our colleges, you leave with the full-time course enrollment for the fall. I think that's absolutely splendid. That's how we get people involved, engaged, committed. May the 1st is the national day for student registrations of student intent to register for high school students in the colleges. And this is our equivalent. We have our students come to our colleges, get guaranteed admission, walk away with financial aid, walk away with the full load of classes. That's how we enroll students. That's a service that I think we can provide. And I'm very proud of the work that's being done. So Dr. Alba Lopez, thank you for leading that effort and for working with everyone to get us to that particular point. Thank you to Vice Chancellor Lids to make sure everything actually works. When you click and you point and you go somewhere, it actually works fluidly and seamlessly. So thank you for your outstanding leadership in those particular areas. So the last slide on the enrollment, and Trustee referred to this. We're down in some of our API communities, and we need to better understand why. Associate Vice Chancellor Pearl gave us some reasons, at least some plausible reasons as to why the numbers are significant enough that we're going to pay attention to as to why the API community population is down. So we'll continue to work on that and look forward to reporting back in the near future. So you see the fill rates by modality. There's still a significant amount of courses that are online or hybrid and whatnot. We're looking for, and I've been very clear about this, for this fall, a different balance where we have additional resources, supports classes in person on our campuses. So we will work towards that. And again, the numbers look very, very good, but we still have some restoration to do. So with that, Board President Vela, I'll end my report and ask if there are any questions.
Thank you so much, Chancellor. Any questions on the Chancellor's report? Okay, hearing none. Thank you so much. Very comprehensive. Thank you. Next is our combined consent calendar. Board members?
Move the item.
Okay,
consent
Trustee Vettis, thank you for moving that. Any second on the agenda? All right, thank you so much. May I have a motion on a second on the combined consent calendar for items I1 through U6, so that's specific to that, okay? So moved by Trustee Vettis, second?
Again.
Okay, second by VP Eno. Okay, any discussion on this? Yes?
I have some.
Sure, Trustee Hernandez.
Was it P2? P2, K2. Thank you.
So, yeah, I was just excited to see this. I'm, not super familiar with the emergency conditions allowance. I got a little bit of an update on it. But what I was most excited when I looked at this was the individual college plans. Because I know that I've discussed with Dr. Alba Lopez about wanting to see that. So I was really excited just that we were able to review this report and had the opportunity to go through all this. So I just had one quick question. When you look at some of these, so, it's fascinating to see kind of the enrollment targets and where we project our growth for the individual colleges. And I noticed that you do have on these reports academic year 2021 to 2022 and 22 to 23. And have we met those FTS projected numbers for the 21, 22? Yeah, I guess that would be the request I could have if we could analyze where we're at. Perhaps I know that we get sent the FTS reports, but perhaps just so we can have, I'd love to be able to just see where those projections are and kind of where we're currently.
So we will note that we are currently on track to meet those projections. I would add that the final numbers are not done until a few months after the semester ends, because we collect that data. So it lags just a little bit, but we can give projections where we're headed, because until all the reports are in, all the grades are in, all the non-credit is in, we won't have the final number. But
Okay.
that's usually a few months after.
So 2022, 23, that probably, the final number is like after June.
For 22,
23.
23,
You know,
that's the one
that
we're
would
in
be-
now. The one
that's
we're
what
now.
we're in right now.
Yes, actually, it's October.
October, got it.
Yeah,
Okay.
but we'll have some projections. Those are final numbers that we report to the state of California as a final number. But if you want, but we could give some ideas as to where we're headed. We can project, but the final report's not till October.
Yeah, that's great. Yep, that's just my question, and if we, that would be, thank you for putting that.
Okay, any more items in the agenda from items I1 through U6 that board members need additional information? Okay, hearing none, roll call, please.
Student trustee Callahan advisory vote,
Yes.
trustee Boulna, trustee Henderson,
Yes.
trustee Hernandez,
Yes.
trustee Hoffman, trustee Eno,
Yes.
trustee Vella,
Yes.
trustee Vettis.
Yes.
Okay, let's go on to business items. Board members will now review the business items. May I have a motion and a second to adopt business items V1 through V16?
So moved.
Moved by Eno, second by Henderson. Are there any addition or any items that you all think require additional information on items V1 through V16?
Can I ask just like a
Yes.
question for clarification? So sometimes we have reimbursements on here, very small reimbursements for college employees, and I can't imagine these are the only reimbursements that exist throughout all of our 9 campuses. Why do some of these show up on our board agenda, whereas probably most of them do not, correct?
Yes, Ms. Gordon, I think they do have to show up. They're not then authorized initially. Is that correct, Ms. Gordon?
Okay, so if they're not encumbered from the, because I noticed like none of the college presidents' travel or any expenses related to that are ever on the board agenda. But then once in a while, we'll see a reimbursement for, like $245 for an employee. So that's usually done in advance through the college, and then the ones that the college missed come to the board. Okay. Okay, I mean, I don't ever remember seeing any travel other than board travel and student trustee travel ever coming to the board, so. Okay, just because I work in a district where everything comes to the board, so I was just curious about these couple little. Yeah, I don't care about the payment. I just care about like the liability, I guess, is what I'm thinking more about. Okay, thanks.
Any more discussion on business items V1 through V16? Okay, hearing none, roll call, please.
Student trustee Callahan,
Yes.
trustee Boulna, absent, not present, trustee Henderson,
Yes.
trustee Hernandez,
Yes.
trustee Hoffman,
Yes.
trustee Eno,
Yes.
trustee Vella,
Yes.
trustee Vettis.
Yes.
Okay, motion passes. Item W, special request for payment. May I have a motion and a second on item W1? This is authorize a special request for payment at LA Trade Tech for $20,493.
So moved.
Okay, moved by Eno,
Second.
second Henderson. Any discussions or questions by the board on this?
I have a question. Is this a super majority kind of vote, or is this just a regular majority?
It's just majority.
Okay, and is this one of those items that wasn't processed in advance? Okay. Perfect example right here. Thanks.
Yeah, so on this one, yeah, the discussion is essentially we're trying to minimize these coming to the board. We trustee, did ask business staff to so we're seeing less of these on these kind of expenditures at the colleges, but we appreciate you bringing that up, so. But as you can see here, it's a payment for bedazzle events. Okay, hearing no more discussion, roll call, please.
Student trustee Callahan is advisory vote.
Yes.
Trustee Wilna. Trustee Henderson.
Yes.
Trustee Hernandez.
Yes.
Trustee Hoffman.
Yes.
Trustee Eno.
Yes.
Trustee Vella.
Yes.
Trustee Vettis.
Yes.
All right, and then W2, authorized special request for payment at the ESC for 11/16. A motion on and a second on item W2.
So moved.
Moved by
Second.
Eno.
Second.
Okay, second Hoffman. Any discussion? Okay, hearing none, roll call, please.
Student trustee Callahan is advisory vote.
Yes.
Trustee Wilna. Trustee Henderson.
Yes.
Trustee Hernandez.
Yes.
Trustee Hoffman.
Yes.
Trustee Eno.
Yes.
Trustee Vella.
Yes.
Trustee Vettis.
Yes.
Okay, motion passes. Next is facility items X1 through X13. Board members will now review the facilities items. We have a motion and a second to adopt facilities items X1 through X13.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Eno, seconded by Henderson. Any discussion on these?
Yeah, did this go through the facilities committee and can somebody give an explanation as to why we're not going through the public bidding requirements on this? Wasn't this number one? Isn't that what we just, adopt finding of bidding impracticability and authorize award of contract for the upgrade of the current planetarium project at Harbor College? Can someone speak to that?
Let me start by having Dr. Smith, who's our chief facilities executive, give his view of this and then invite any comments from Dr. Doral. Dr. Smith.
Oh, thank you for the question. That actually, the planetarium equipment and upgrade, we actually have this process bidding impracticability when there's not a substantial amount of vendors to bid on that work. It's very specific.
Okay.
And the age of the equipment is very old as well. So that's why we adopted this finding. And we reviewed this with the Office of General Counsel as well.
Great, I just needed to know. Wonderful, thanks.
Okay, any more discussion of facilities items X1 through?
See one
Trustee
point,
Velez?
and it's not necessarily obviously fully support the item, but I did want to know, just because there had been some public comments about elevators and wanted to give Dr. Smith a chance. They were made in public comment. I know we have an item here that approves it, but if he can fine tune, the elevator conversations and challenges that have been going on.
So specifically to Trade Tech, we do have an elevator project that we've been working on, a couple of elevators to upgrade. Two of those elevators are near completion. This is something that we've identified over a year ago. There's also another project that we're looking at for future repairs. There is actually, we're actually looking at the elevator contract for that maintenance. That'll be revised. We're probably going to do an ADA compliance upgrade on all the elevators at Trade Tech. So that's pending and forthcoming as for approval in the future once we go through an RFP process.
So it had been ongoing work. I know it was raised at I think it was last board meeting, public
Yes.
comments.
Yes.
But it had been ongoing work, but I think we can start to see some progress through the contracts and the future activities of addressing the campus community concerns about elevator access.
Yes.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. And I think that as we move forward, we need to definitely have more, we can't let too much time pass on fixing the elevators. And however we can augment that. I mean, I know tree trimming is important. A lot of tree trimming contracts come up from each college. We think that's very important. But this one, ADA compliance, you run the gamut. So I would appreciate more attention to our elevators throughout the district. Thank you. Okay, any more questions on X1 through X13 or any other comments? Okay, hearing none, roll call, please.
Student trustee Callahan's advisory vote.
Yes.
Trustee Wilna.
Yes.
Trustee Henderson.
Yes.
Trustee Hernandez. Trustee Hoffman.
Yes.
Trustee Eno.
Yes.
Trustee Vella.
Yes.
Trustee Vettis.
Yes.
All right, motion passes. Recommendations from the Chancellor. Number one, approval board policies, chapter 3. Next, we'll move to recommendations from the Chancellor. Would you provide a brief explanation on our next action item, number 1?
Items Y1 and Y2, both of these items were brought to your attention 1 month ago. Comments were included if necessary in both chapter 3 and chapter 6. And chapter 3 related to the prohibition of sexual harassment, board policy 3430 and 3433, the prohibition of sexual harassment under Title 9. So it's the same. Trustee Hoffman, you requested the red line document of that is posted on there for your edification, and we do recommend approval for both chapter 3 and then the subsequent item, chapter 6.
Okay, really quick before we go to trustees, General Counsel, do you have any comments or your team on these, please? Thank you.
President Vela and trustees, as the Chancellor indicated, we did draft the BP 3430, recommend approval of that policy. BP 3433, the red line changes were the request of Trustee Hoffman. They are different than the version that was recommended by the Office of General Counsel. The changes are permitted if the board would prefer to have a broader, more encompassing policy than is required in our recommendation. So those changes are not the Office of General Counsel changes. They're the changes that were recommended previously.
Okay, thank you. Trustee Hoffman?
Thank you, General Counsel Medina. Is this the exact language from the league template? Because I couldn't find it or compare. So are you assuring me that this is what was recommended? Because we decided to adopt the league template for many of our board policies. So I just want to make sure this is the exact language. And is this a first read? Because I would have liked to see this on a first read so that it could come back to us without the red lines so that we could approve it at the next board meeting. But are you assuring me that this is the exact language from the league template that they provided?
So the League of the Community Colleges League provides boilerplate sample policies. The Office of General Counsel does not recommend a wholesale adoption of those policies. So normally we tailor those policies to be consistent with Los Angeles Community College District, which is very different in many respects than others. This policy was redlined against the league policy that we were able to obtain. So that is the most recent copy that we have from the league. It is a second read. You can't adopt it today. You can continue this and we can bring it back without the red line. But in order to be responsive to your request, we wanted you to see exactly what was added from the league sample.
Okay. Can I have someone, because I, as a trustee, don't have access to the league policies. Can I have someone send me the league policy so that I can compare them?
Absolutely.
Thank you. And then we'll bring it back next meeting for a vote. Is that okay, President?
Yeah,
Vela?
I think if you're okay with it, let's just go ahead and pull it and then bring it back. Are you okay with that?
Yeah, or we can consider it a first read and we'll bring it back for a second read, correct? Is that what's the
You've
process?
already had, you are only required to have 2 reads. So this would be the second read, but there's nothing that prohibits you from bringing it back at the next meeting.
Okay.
There's really no difference.
I thought it would come back as a first read. So, all right, thank you.
Yeah, you okay with that?
Yep.
All right, let's do that. Yeah, I agree. That way you could look at the language. Okay. Okay, yeah. We're pulling BP 40, what? 3430. Okay.
So members of the board, what you're looking at, if I heard this correctly, that you will be looking solely to approve board policy 3430. Is that correct, General Counsel?
Okay, so then let's move on to that. Oh, let's do a roll call. So we're going to be approving board policy 3433.
No.
Oh, sorry, 3430. That's right.
So it's, Board President, it's policy 3430, and we're comfortable if the board wants to move forward also adopting BP 6305, the general fund unrestricted ending balance. This is a second read for that as well.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Appreciate that. All right, let's start with this one though, 3430. Motion?
So moved.
VP Henderson, second.
Okay.
Okay, second by trustee Callahan. Let's go ahead and take roll call.
Student trustee Callahan's advisory vote,
Yes.
trustee Boulna, trustee Henderson,
Yes.
trustee Hernandez,
Yes.
trustee Hoffman,
Yes.
trustee Eno,
Yes.
trustee Vella,
Yes.
trustee Vettis.
Yes.
Okay, motion passes. Now we're looking at the approval of board policies in chapter 6. Chancellor, could you provide a brief explanation on this item?
Yes, this provides a language for our general fund ending balance, and as noted by our general counsel, staff is recommending approval of board policy 6305. This is the second read.
Okay, second read. Are there any discussions? Can we please open the board policy and put it on the screen for the audience? Okay. And our trustees. Any comments on these, VP?
I just had a comment that I sent to the chancellor that hopefully in the future, since it says also see AP, if we could just have the AP with the BP. Yeah, thank you.
Happy to do that. Thank you.
Okay, anyone else? Did I already make a motion and a second on this? I don't think so, huh? Not on this. I just asked the chancellor to explain. Okay. All right, let's have a motion and a second.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, VP Eno motion, second of VP Henderson. Any further discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Student trustee Callahan's advisory vote,
Yes.
trustee Boulna, trustee Henderson,
Yes.
trustee Hernandez,
Yes.
trustee Hoffman,
Yes.
trustee Eno,
Yes.
trustee Vella,
Yes.
trustee Vettis.
Yes.
Okay, let's go on to item Y3, resolution of the Board of Trustees, LA Community College, reaffirming support for addressing the housing needs for students, faculty, and staff. Chancellor, would you like to provide a brief explanation on this next action item?
Yes, this is an action item, as mentioned. Thank you, Board President. We're moving forward. This has three items, three elements to this resolution. First is based on the discussions we've had really over the last year plus at the board level related to how we address the housing needs of students, faculty, and staff. This resolution allows us to move forward in that respect by preparing the second element, a district-wide housing plan. And then third element is to establish a pre-qualification list for potential housing project development and operation. So that's what the whereases talk about. And there are some principles that I want to make sure the board is aware of. First and foremost, as we move forward in this documentation, we want to ensure that we will pursue best-in-class approaches to the potential development, and we'll test and prove this in the marketplace. Secondly, we will continue to draw on experts and their support and expertise to establish partnerships. And as you know, we have 5 current partnerships now in the community that has helped to alleviate students who are unhoused in this particular circumstance. The third element is that we will look at potentially including housing supports that include mental health, food security, other kinds of development and financial literacy, job readiness as part of our thinking around how to construct these and do these projects well. Fourth element is the pilot. So we can do on a small scale what might be something we could do on a larger scale. So piloting is indeed allowed, encouraged through this resolution. We will also, and this is an important element that was brought up at the meeting a month ago, to have financial models. And you asked us to be very clear on the assessment of the feasibility of any proposed new housing development, both on or off campus. So this is clearly a strong element of this resolution. And then lastly, you've asked us to put in metrics to assess and measure whether or not we're actually addressing this need, meeting the target goals, and other considerations that the board may put forth. So this is a resolution that we're putting forth that puts in, I think, some of the key elements that have been discussed for some time now, and the staff is recommending adoption.
Okay, great. Before we go on to any more discussion from trustees, Dr. Smith, do you have any comments on this resolution? Anything you want to add? Really? General Counsel, do you have anything? Okay.
And let me, sorry,
Sure.
my apologies. I wanted to thank General Counsel Medina and Dr. Smith. they were integrally involved with our experts putting this together. So I wanted to recognize their work. It's a fine document, provides a framework and flexibility for a series of options that could lie ahead in our future. So thank you both.
Thank you so much. Any discussion from our trustees? Trustee Bettis, anyone?
Yeah, let me offer a few points. I think, I think this is a product of several years of presentations. And I think what we get on the table is an opportunity to look at an RFI, RFQ, and also to be able to take advantage of piloting to educate us and to learn from experience, because sometimes I think we've been able to assess that the need is great across the board, but where do you start? And where you start sometimes has an opportunity to learn lessons and put your best ideas on the table, and to be able to understand before it becomes regular and consistent all around practice, that at least we can understand in a piece how we can move forward. But I would say that there's 3 and maybe even more significant tools out there that are mentioned and referenced in the document. I think it's very important to acknowledge that in this time and age, we have an SB 330 that we've sponsored and moved forward. That is a potential tool. We have an SB 169 that now has regular workshops and regular information. That is a potential tool. And we have our own bond that was passed and discussed roundly at this board and throughout the community at large, to understand that there are construction and real estate acquisition elements to that tool as well. So as we get to those broad conversations, I did want to highlight that there's also a desire to serve impacted populations. And that's very important to understand the challenges of our foster youth, our LGBTQ students, homeless, formerly homeless, and others that are dealing with basic need challenges, and to be able to understand that this seeks to make a difference there as well. And I think I mentioned a little bit the last time we had this on the agenda. There's a statewide effort to talk about housing affordability, especially for this middle group of workers. And I think we do have certainly a middle group of workers at LACCD that we're going to call out in the low to mod, compared to the county that they reside in, that we can potentially be a support system and aid in terms of the really critical missing middle in the housing market that is workforce housing. So I'm excited to see all these elements come together, and the opportunity to be able to continue to grow in terms of a long-standing element and effort, but at the same time give us some framing and flexibility to pilot and learn and get a few things on the table, where many of our specific questions can really get some insight, and we get some data from and learn and make an impact in terms of our community. So I'm very supportive. I think what we have here in the process that we'll take from here forward.
So much. Any more?
I just have a question. I'm very excited about it too. Vice Chancellor Smith, can you explain what is I'm not super familiar with RFI, but so the RFI, RFQ process creates a pre-qualification list. What does that look like?
So basically, it's a pre-qualification list with the requested for information pre-qualification. It gives us an opportunity to put together a package and see which design, build, operate, and maintain entities, what kind of package they can present to us, and if we're meeting the goal. And so that's something that it's a progressive step. Once we go through that process, we'll probably only bid to that pre-qualification list. Once approved, and things may change, it gives us the flexibility to go back and say, do we want to have another pre-qualification list if possible, if necessary, based on any type of funding that may come through, or partnership that we have or that we create along the way. So that's what that looks like.
I'm just thinking, because if you have a DBOM, you have your developer, might have, that developer obviously needs to partner. Right? You want that team to be in place, because you will hope that your design is being informed by the entity that's actually going to be maintaining and operating the project.
Correct.
So would it be like an RFI of an actual team folks that are then going to bid on the project?
Well, it's less of an RFI from them, more from us, where we're requesting information and participation. It gives us a feeler approach if we choose to. We're probably going to go with the RFQ process, which I think that's what we're ramping up and preparing for this summer.
Okay. 'Cause I'm just thinking of similar housing bonds, you know, when you look at Measure HHH, you have like an RFP where you have you have a team, right? Like if we start picking and choosing our developer here, our supplier, our modular supplier here, or operator here, we're gonna get this hodgepodge of just, I don't know what. So I'm just wondering how that, we're asking for information of a team of folks, or we're gonna just ask for information from like various parts of the construction.
No, yeah, we're going to look more of a team approach like we do our design build entities on our
Okay.
design build projects. So it'll be a team
Okay.
that we're looking for.
If I could also add to that, Trustee Hernandez, given how innovative it is I know there's a few community college districts that are doing student housing now, but very, very few, and none as large as we are with our campuses so different. We're utilizing, Dr. Smith suggested the RFI, RFQ so that we can actually get the experts that are out there to share with us what's working, where is it working, why do they think it's going to work here. And so it allows us, rather than the RFP that's very prescriptive, where we say we want exactly apples and oranges, this is going to allow whoever's out there to get as creative as they want to be, bring it to us and let us see what is the best thinking on the issues of student housing.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely in favor of that. That's definitely, I think, the best way to go about it, as long as we're also allowing those experts to couple with other experts and team up with other experts and make those decisions as a team. And we're not kind of just choosing here. That it's really more of my not understanding what an RFI is, but thank you for clearing that.
No problem.
Any more questions or comments from the board? Hey, anybody? Yeah, Trustee Callahan, do you have anything?
I'd say, this resolution is giving like a general plan of what the housing, you intend to do, but it's still relatively tentative, right? I would say if there's any way to emphasize the level of accountability that the district has as far as handling partnerships that we're performing with other organizations to manage the housing, I would like to see that particularly emphasized in the alt section. Again, when it comes to students in these situations, it is highly dependent on who we are partnering with in order to like manage some of these sites that we're planning to develop. But at the end of the day, we're trying to have this, and I'd say that we should have something that shows that we are responsible to some extent for the conditions and situations are in. So I just say, in some way, if we could add an emphasis on accountability to the district, that would be cool. If it is already emphasized and I'm maybe not necessarily getting it in some of these sections, I'd say leave it as is, but the accountability piece.
Yeah, so that's a great comment and point you're making, Student Trustee Callahan. One of the things that we're doing is this resolution is a framework as a first step. One of the things that we will eventually look at is a policy and a procedure. I don't think it's wise to do that now because we don't have anything to compare to based on our innovation and our approach. And so until we select a site, it's really hard to assure what accountability we're looking for. So that'll be a process that we add once we go from the RFQ process to the RFP process. When we're looking for proposals, we'll be very exact on what we expect because we will also have a pro forma and numbers to compare to ensure what our total cost of ownership that we expect to be. So yeah, you bring excellent points. We did touch on it in the resolution as a part of ensuring that we're not approaching the general fund and being responsible there, but there will be more to come in the next phase as we bring forth and share what the RFQ looks like, as well as the RFP in this process. Thank you.
Okay, any other comments or issues? Okay, I just want to thank you. I know you had a big task of bringing something back for the next board meeting. I think this is very a great start. And I really appreciate all of your team. So I want to thank your team for putting this resolution together, to giving us and beginning really the framework for what we're moving forward towards our student housing goals and faculty. All right.
Thank you.
If hearing no more comments, let's go ahead for roll call. Oh, yeah. Oh, sorry. Motion
So moved.
moved by Eno,
Second?
second Henderson. Roll call, please.
Student trustee Callahan's advisory vote.
Yes, Aroni.
Trustee Boulna,
Yes.
trustee Henderson,
Yes.
trustee Hernandez,
Yes.
trustee Hoffman,
Yes.
trustee Eno,
Yes.
trustee Vella,
Yes.
trustee Vettis.
Yes.
Okay, motion passes. All right, and then finally, Y4, well, actually not finally, we still have a couple more. Resolution authorizing issuance of the 2022 election general obligation bond series A. And that's, Chancellor, would like to provide a brief explanation on this?
Yes, these next two items are somewhat related. This allows us to both sell bonds and then to refund bonds as well. So this first item 4 authorizes us to move forward. If you may have heard Dr. Smith mention in previous presentations, this allows us to sell bonds, in this case, not to exceed at 300 million, that provides us cash flow, resources that we need so that our construction colleagues and all those who are involved with the construction and build enterprise can receive the resources when, in fact, we need them, which would mitigate the delays and other sorts of things. So this authorizes us to use a chunk of the bonds from, this is a measure, let's say which one this is? Measure LA. This is the most recent bond. Thank you, Ms. Gordon. As you know, we are asking, and the board has approved, pre-approved a bench of about 15 folks who can help us do that. We put together a series of folks who can help us do that. We passed this through the budget committee. They have fully supported this, so we recommend the support for this resolution that authorizes us to sell bonds so that we can have the appropriate cash flow so that Dr. Smith and his team can do great work.
All right, thank you. Any other questions? Can I have a motion and a second?
President Vela, can I
Yeah.
just suggest, since they're somewhat related, can I move that items 4 and 5 be approved?
Okay, let's go ahead and move any, so that's noted. Any second?
I'll second.
Okay, second by trustee Hoffman. Any further discussion? Okay, roll call, please.
Student trustee Callahan's advisory vote.
Yes.
Trustee Boulna, trustee Henderson,
Yes.
trustee Hernandez,
Yes.
trustee Hoffman,
Yes.
trustee Eno,
Yes.
trustee Vella,
Yes.
trustee Vettis.
Yes.
And Board President Vela, as we close this item, Ms. Gordon, I want to thank you and your team. When I recognize Joanna Bose is here, she's our financial advisor as well to prepare these items so that we can go to market when the time is right. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Appreciate that. Let's move on to public hearing to adopt the resolution to convey easement to Spectrum Pacific West. Board members, Education Code Section 81313 requires the board to hold a public hearing to hear from members of the public regarding the resolution to convey an easement to Spectrum LLC at ELAC. I now open the public hearing to hear from members of the public. All right, so far I have none. Is there anyone in the audience? Is there anyone on Zoom? Okay, hearing none. Chancellor, would you like to quickly talk about it?
President Vella, there's one person online.
Oh, there is, okay. Go ahead and unmute yourself, please.
Unmute yourself, please, Ellen.
All right. Hello. Good afternoon to all of you. I'm Alex Cabrera. I'm a student at Pierce College, and I'm from the San Fernando Valley. I'm here to speak to all of you on the importance of paying our educators, my educators, my professors, fair wages. As a society and educational
I'm
institution,
sorry,
we need to.
Alex, I'm sorry, you're on the wrong public comment. We'll
I'm
call
sorry,
Alex.
What?
Mr. Cabrera, we're gonna get to you in a little bit, okay? This is
Oh,
under,
all right. Then.
yeah, go ahead and mute yourself and we'll call you.
All right.
Okay, thank you. All right, hearing no more, yeah.
Would you like me to give a
Yeah,
little background?
briefly.
Well, this is we're opening the public hearing. Is there anyone like to speak? Because after you close it, I can do the comments now or as you adopt the resolution on matter AA. So whenever you'd like, sir.
Let's go ahead and do it now.
Okay, what this is, and we brought this to a previous board meeting, I believe it was a month ago. What this does, this resolution allows through the education code, an easement. It's a strip of land 5 feet wide under a particular parcel 1 at East Los Angeles College. And with this easement, they'll be allowed to install, maintain, operate, and improve some of the facilities and lines that need to be done. So this is an action that needs to take place. The board needs to approve that so that Spectrum Pacific West can have access to that property.
Okay, thank you very much. I'll go ahead and close the public hearing. Let's go ahead and take up item AA1, which is to adopt a resolution to convey the easement. Board members, the next action requires a supermajority of the vote. That's 5 votes. May I have a motion and a second to adopt the resolution to convey the easement?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by VP Eno, second by VP Henderson. Any further discussion? Hearing none, roll call. Oh, no, go ahead.
Right, just one comment, and I know this is a small space, and it's we particularly expect nothing to become problematic with the space, but in the easement, are there? I don't see it in the resolution per se, but potentially in any further documentation, protections for the district if anything happens, if there's, I know these are low powered lines. I know I'm just, if I'm going to use an example, we've had some interesting issues brought up to us by incomplete sewer lines and drainage lines and those kinds of things. Typically speaking, if there's a cut in the concrete or in the asphalt, the expectation is that there's no bumps, there's no ridges, there's no whatever. I don't know if this is an aerial or an underground. I'm just speaking from looking at where it's being conveyed, but I just want to be very clear that any type of legal sort of vulnerabilities that this may be or provide to us by their work, that they can be responsible, the responsible party, or we can essentially, looking for the last word. I think you know where I'm going with this concern, but I just want to be sure in the easement, because it's still essentially our property, but they've done work, and it would be best to make sure we're clear of any liability.
Yeah, there it is. So yes, you could address any liability, please. Okay.
Yes, trustee Vettis, we have vetted the easement. It has indemnities, it has protections for the district, and Spectrum will be taking responsibility for any issues that may arise during the construction and after their cable easement is installed. But it is something that's necessary in order to allow better internet access at ELAC, something that they really need. But we absolutely reviewed all of the protections, and the document has all of the indemnities.
And that was my second question, that the public benefit is going to be higher speed, access at the campus.
For the entire community, it won't, once you have these additional capabilities at ELAC, the community at large will benefit from this increased internet.
Any further discussion? Okay, hearing none, roll call, please. Remember, this needs supermajority vote.
Student trustee Callahan's advisory vote.
Yes.
Trustee Buona.
Yes.
Trustee Henderson.
Yes.
Trustee Hernandez. Trustee Hoffman.
Yes.
Trustee Eno.
Yes.
Trustee Vella.
Yes.
Trustee Veras.
Yes.
Okay, motion passes. Item BB, notice of reports and informatives, notice of in-state travel. Board members, there's one notice, but no action is required at this time. Can we pull, do we have the notification? No, right?
Yes, this is for Puente students traveling,
Okay.
23 of them to San Francisco, Northern California. So this
Nice.
took place last week, or a couple of weeks ago, pardon me. So this simply puts that on the record.
Oh, great. That sounds great. Okay, Dr. Lopez is putting this forward. Thank you so much. Next is announcements and indications of future proposed action by members of the Board of Trustees. Would any of my colleagues like to make any announcements or indicate future proposed actions? VP Henderson and then Trustee Vettis.
In recognition of student trustee Callahan and discussions that the board has had, I would like for us to have discussions around increasing the student trustees' monthly compensation.
Okay, thank you. We'll bring that to the agenda in the future. Trustee Vettis.
Yes, thank you, President Vela and Chancellor. I'm going to see if I can encourage potentially a forum or a meeting or a town hall that deals with student workers. You know, I had a number of them that reached out to me over the past few weeks that were talking about concerns they had, working conditions, even just the way the process works. I think maybe it's time. I know we have an agreement that we've made over the years with our classified union. And I think whether it's communication documents to the student workers when they start the job or whatever, I was at a loss to explain because I was only familiar with the document and the agreement we made with our union. And so I know there was a number of issues that were beyond that the students were raising. And I think there was even particular like students who are no longer students of us that might keep their student related employment that are outside. I was at a loss. So, I can certainly send it over, but I just wanted to make the announcement because I know there is a public agreement that we have that's a standing agreement in terms of our process, but I know there's probably a number of questions and it seems the in the implementation process of each of the campuses that are raising questions. And so I'm not sure if it got to the Student Affairs Committee yet, student trustee, but I know these were raised specifically at LACCD College and also related to Southwest and Los Angeles Valley College as well. So I'll put that on the table and pass over, the students and their information. But if there's any more than, that I have beyond our standing agreements, we may need to make sure that everybody's very, aware of the documents we have and the guiding documents, and the students, when they do sign up for their student employment, understand the process that exists here, whether it's limitation of hours or whatever that's on the table.
We'll engage in some due diligence and report back.
Great, thank you.
I would, on that matter.
Trustee, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. But I would say, in addition to that, I would say we conduct a survey to actually look at those conditions that you're speaking of. Yeah, just like a survey so that we can actually see the data district-wide, because you said this is something that's been brought up at City and Southwest, and it's potentially happening district-wide. So just putting that on our radar, just understanding the conditions of our unclassified student workers. I'd say a survey would, conducting some kind of research to look into that, would give us a better idea of how to handle the situation or what exactly kind of an issue.
Thank you, Trustee Callahan. I appreciate that. Okay, any more announcements? Okay, hearing none. We're going to go ahead to public comment, request to address the Board of Trustees regarding matters not on the agenda. We do have about 15 total speakers. About 12 of them are on the same topic. So I'm going to ask the board if you guys can entertain limiting the speaking duration from 3 minutes to 2 minutes. Is there a motion for that?
So moved.
Okay, so move. Any second on this?
Yes.
Okay, second by Trustee Hernandez. Roll call, please. Yes. It's on respect for pays and wages, and I believe that's, if I'm not mistaken, Chancellor, the groups that came.
This looks like it's colleagues who are representing our faculty guild, who we
Yeah.
speaking on respect and pay wages. There's not an item on the agenda, so they're utilizing items not on the agenda to share their thoughts.
So it's faculty.
It's faculty.
Any more questions on this? Okay, I have a motion and a second to limit to 2 minutes. Let's go ahead and do the roll call.
Student trustee Callahan,
Yes.
trustee Buona, trustee Henderson,
Yes.
trustee Hernandez, trustee Hoffman,
Yes.
trustee Eno,
Yes.
trustee Vella,
Yes.
trustee Veras.
Okay,
Not present.
motion passes. Let's go ahead and first start with Guadalupe Aldana, and please unmute yourself. You have 2 minutes.
It looks like she's not on Zoom, but I please ask Ms. Guadalupe Aldana to raise your hand. Oh, it looks like she's under a different name.
Okay. Can you raise your hand, please?
Okay, Ms. Aldana, your 2 minutes.
Go ahead and unmute yourself, Ms. Aldana.
Okay. Hi, good afternoon.
Hi.
Okay. Disappointed is an understatement, yet it's the only word I could find to describe the feeling that many other students, including myself, are currently feeling. Walking across the stage is one of the biggest and highest achievements we could ever obtain in our lifetime. Our achievements aren't just our achievements, but they're also our parents' and our families' achievements. Coming from a family that migrated to the US in search of better opportunities and a better life for themselves, as well as their family, has been my personal motivation to pursue higher education. Nothing could ever compare to having your name called while walking across a stage. At last year's Mi Gente graduation, I was moved to tears watching my peers having their moment of glory for their hard work and dedication. We shouldn't have this moment of triumph taken away. The Mexican and Chicano community has undergone discrimination for centuries, even prior to our land being taken from our ancestors when we were painted to be the villains. We are currently in the year 2023. How much longer do we have to keep fighting for our society to understand that minorities and ethnic communities have so much to offer in the working world? In the 1960s and 1970s, when the Chicano movement took place, the Mexican and Chicano community gathered to fight for equality in the political and educational aspect. During this time period, roughly 25% of the Mexican and Chicano students graduated from high school, and an even smaller percentage of Mexicans and Chicanos were encouraged to pursue higher education. Currently in 2023, the college attendance rate for the Latino community is roughly 60% at Los Angeles Pierce College. This demographic includes all of our other community colleges within the district. We are no longer the minority, so why treat us like we are the minority? If a majority of our school's demographic is occupied by the Mexican and Latino community, then why do you feel it is fair to deny this year's graduates a ceremony in honor to recognize them for their academic achievements? Whether you understand it or not, this feels like modern day discrimination, and we will not stand for this type of behavior from grown adults. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Aldana. Ms. Stephanie Cortez.
Yes, right here. Good afternoon. So yes, I am also very disappointed with this year's plans of the Mi Gente graduation, because at the end of the day, what this looks like, based on the plans that we have heard of, this is exactly what you can consider a cheap carnival without the rides. We're told that we would be signing up with our corresponding at the corresponding booth, where a goodie bag would be given to us with a commemorated medallion and a voucher for one free food plate. However, our families and friends will have to buy their own food from the food truck if they want to eat. How is this cultural or memorable for what we have accomplished? It's an insult, to say the least. Every student has their own personal story for why they came back to school. Personally, I came back after I attempted suicide. I was extremely depressed after being drugged and raped on my 30th birthday. I never got the justice, so I turned my pain into my passion for change, which is why my degree in criminal justice represents my own triumph. Is all that hard work and dedication for academic achievement not good enough? Is a degree earned by a Hispanic student not as valuable as one earned by a student of a different race? Because that is exactly the message that is being sent when special treatment is given to every other group and disregard for the rest. Please rectify this injustice before it gains the attention of the press. I guarantee that I am not the only Latina who is upset, and I know that everyone else wants to protest, which I can only imagine will have a negative impact on the efforts to increase the student enrollment. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Cortez. Next is Michael Romo. Michael, go ahead and unmute yourself. Oh, come on up, Michael. Sorry. Well, it's matters not on the agenda, so
Okay,
yeah.
okay. Hang on one second. Good afternoon, President Vela, board members, including Student Trustee Callahan, Chancellor, distinguished guests, including the classified staff in the audience, and especially the classified staff who is making this board meeting possible. As was mentioned from the resource table, this month has Classified Employees Week beginning on May 15th, and in past years, the board recognized it with resolutions. Unfortunately, there was not a resolution like that this year. I sent copies to the trustee staff to distribute to you on past resolutions. And if you have them there in front of you, you can see that some of the current incumbent members of the board actually signed or at least voted on the past resolutions. So there should be some memory of it in their system. I would hope that the words on the resolutions had more impact and would make a deeper imprint on them, that they would remember it in years moving forward. I understand that they will try and prevent this from happening in future years. May I suggest adding a whereas, recognizing the institutional knowledge of the classified staff, the fact that I, a classified staff, was able to remember something from the history is just one example of the institutional knowledge that the classified staff provide to the district. Trustees and chancellors and campus presidents come and go, as do their agenda, but the classified staff is still here through all of that, implementing their decisions and their agenda. The classified staff is the one that keeps the district going. It was mentioned when the contract proposal was presented, several classified employees spoke about the hardships that they are doing in the current economy, yet they still come to work and do their jobs. The fact that they do that deserves to be compensated, deserves to be recognized. Hang on one more second. Okay, I think, yeah, well, I'm under the 2-minute agenda, so I'll just summarize that again. Bottom line, words are nice. I hope to see them next year, but ahead of that, I hope for a fast resolution of the contract issues that the staff guild is facing, and that they deserve, and that they get the compensation that they deserve because of their value to the district. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Romo. And again, we absolutely apologize for that. And we will make sure that it comes to the board, if not soon, for sure next year. And staff, if you could please take note of Mr. Romo's addition to.
And hopefully a settlement of the contract will come sooner than that. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next on Zoom is Ms. Leslie Trujillo, or okay. Unmute yourself.
Yes, hello. Good afternoon, Board of Trustees, Chancellor Rodriguez, distinguished guests, and everyone. My name is Leslie Trujillo, and I have been a faculty member in the kinesiology department at Los Angeles Harbor College for 14 years. My fellow colleagues district-wide and I are here today to talk about why we do what we do. I love working with our students at LACCD because I truly want to empower them to understand our motto that education changes everything, and to take action to make their goals happen. In order to do this, the work is nonstop. Our team is constantly meeting with students, replying to emails, texts, and calls throughout the day and night to help meet the mission. Our work is not only in the classroom or online, for the set amount of time, it goes far beyond that. Besides the time that I am sleeping, the majority of my time is spent on doing some kind of work related to serving our community at large. I think I speak for most in the district when I say, besides serving our students, equitable pay is important for our faculty and staff so that we can all serve our students to the best of our ability without fear of financial insecurity. A recent study showed that Los Angeles residents without children would need more than $76,000 after taxes to live comfortably. That is for a single person. Think about people who have kids or student loans to be able to teach at our colleges. It will be a lot more than to make ends meet. We need competitive wages to keep up with the cost of living in Los Angeles, and that is not just a cost of living adjustment, but also an indication that our own education is valued and awarded. I can personally tell you that having 3 growing kids at home, paying the mortgage, utilities, food, phone, car payments, gas, and other basic needs is not easy. When you do not know if your family is going to be provided for, it's hard to perform at your best. Survival always precedes performance. If we want to give our students the best educational experience, equitable pay is a key factor. Thank you for your consideration of this reality of living and working in LA.
Thank you, Mr. Trujillo. Next is Mr. David Scott.
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, thank you, board members. Really appreciate the time to talk for just a few minutes. I'm David Scott. I've been an adjunct faculty member at East Los Angeles College since 2009 in the theater department. I'm also adjunct rep for theater arts department, as well as adjunct rep in the academic senate. I teach a lot of theater classes, of course, but I also direct plays. And that always requires far more time than teaching a regular class. And like other faculty members, I'm involved in many different areas. I was very surprised to hear that in the last 23 years, we received only 1 raise above the cost of living adjustment. And I think we deserve equitable pay that's commensurate with the profession of teaching and beyond a COLA. And adjunct faculty, I think, deserve an increase in our salary schedules as well. As the largest community college district, we should lead the way in providing competitive compensation for all faculty. And I consider increases in salary as an investment in teachers and professors, and in turn, an investment in students. Students are the future of our community, and an investment in students is an investment in ours and their future. The future of our city, in fact, our county, indeed, state and country. Again, please keep in mind that our actions today affect tomorrow in profound, incalculable, and positive ways. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Mr. Scott. Ms. Kara Gillis, please unmute yourself.
Hi, thanks for giving me a chance to speak. My name is Kara Gillis. I'm a professor of philosophy at Pierce College, where I'm the chair of the Philosophy and Sociology Department and the first VP of the Academic Senate. I was hired as a full-time faculty at Pierce in 2009 while I was finishing my PhD. During graduate school, I taught in the UC system and at several community colleges. While my program was gearing us towards a career at a Research One school, I was far more drawn to teaching at the community college level, primarily because community colleges support students from all walks of life and educational backgrounds. The skill set for instructors at community colleges needs to be just as expansive and diverse as our student bodies. In addition to being highly trained generalists in our particular areas, we also have to be engaged, active, compassionate educators who have the humility to really listen when our students share their needs and make changes to our approaches. As a philosopher, I love exploring how my students start to see philosophy at play in their lives. When a student who previously had no interest in philosophy and only took it because they needed a humanities requirement shares their own example of epiphenomenalism, my inner gadfly rejoices. To make sure our students are working with teachers who truly have students at the center of their pedagogy, LACCD needs to make sure they are fairly compensating their faculty for their labor load. The cost of living in LA is oppressive, and many excellent faculty, particularly those newly emerging from graduate school who would be trained in newer and more innovative pedagogical practices that are ideally suited to our students, are likely deterred from working in our district. Although LACCD is the largest community college in the state, we aren't necessarily leading by example when it comes to competitive compensation. In the past 23 years, we've only received 1 raise above COLA. However, in the past 23 years, the amount of emotional and educational support that our students need and deserve, as well as the training necessary to be effective and compassionate educators, has increased dramatically. I'm asking that you consider investing in meaningful salary increases for LACCD faculty so that they can continue to support our students and afford to live in the communities they serve. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Appreciate that. Let me see here. I might have a special request. Oh, yes. So, the folks here for AFT, if you don't mind, we have someone who wanted to speak on the Armenian genocide and has to go to work, and she's been holding. So let's go ahead and unmute Ani Ramazian. Go ahead and unmute yourself.
Hello, thank you so much for doing
Hi.
me a favor.
No, of course, and I'm sure AFT is also in support of that.
Thank you so much. So I am Ani Ramazian, Associated Student Union President at Los Angeles Valley College. And today I'm here on behalf of the Armenian community and not only. So as you all know, in the early 1900s, Ottoman Empire committed Armenian genocide, which resulted to deaths of 1.5 million Armenians, cultural destruction not only. So April 24 is a very, very important day for Armenians and others around the world because this is the day we remember the victims of genocide and participate in activities that raise awareness of it. So even though we are in the 21st century, Turkish government continues denying the genocide, and the importance of this resolution and the continued recognition of Armenian genocide is especially important during this time because of the current unwarranted attacks and blockade on Artsakh and innocent Armenian civilians that being attacked and in humanitarian crisis. So having April 24 as an off day for LACCD district will allow the community to participate and pass on the truth of our history to coming generations. Biggest way of preventing prejudice is educating and acknowledging it. And it will also demonstrate LACCD's solidarity, commitment to human rights, and an understanding of the importance of remembering and learning from history. So many schools have adopted April 24 as a holiday, such as LAUSD District, Tech, and other schools. And let me make it clear that California State declared April 24 a holiday, allowing schools and colleges to have an off day for April 24. And LACCD has always been at its highest in standing with cultures and communities, and with the Armenian community being very big part of LACCD campuses. Our community and I are looking forward to your response, and hopefully next year our students will be able to participate in members events. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much, and we will take note of that and appreciate your feedback on that, Rezo. Thank you so much. Next is Dr. Katrin Wilson. Go ahead and unmute yourself.
Good afternoon, trustees and chancellors. My name is Dr. Catherine Wilson. I am the Counseling Department Chair at Los Angeles Southwest College, where I've been a proud employee for over 20 years. I love being a counseling faculty here in LACCD. We work every day with students to identify their strengths, interests, and passions. We have a deep understanding of the college landscape and the diverse opportunities available to students. We are also familiar with the challenges and obstacles students may face during their college journey and work to help them navigate and overcome challenges and barriers. We are skilled communicators, problem solvers, and advocates for our students. We are awake and we are woke. We create supportive and inclusive environments for students to help them develop the skill and the knowledge they need to succeed in college and in life so they can thrive. As we are currently in the middle of the bargaining for a fair contract, I am here to remind you that all counselors are faculty too, and it is important that the district set the standard of equity among all faculty, including but not limited to equitable pay and improving differentials. I became a counselor because I am passionate about education, access, positive identity development, and equity. However, in order to retain diverse and committed faculty such as myself and colleagues in my department, this district needs to invest in our faculty by paying us adequate salaries, whether we're a counselor, librarian, nurse, or specialist serving our students. Investing in us means investing in quality education and services for our students. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next with us is Dr. Leila Steinberg. Go ahead and unmute yourself.
Good afternoon. My name is Lila Steinberg. I'm an adjunct non-credit ESL instructor in the Continuing Education Department at Los Angeles Valley College, and I'm speaking on behalf of members in our department today. Non-credit adult education classes are rigorous. We work hard to maintain quality and effectiveness in our programs, especially since many non-credit courses are open entry, which enables new students to enter the course at any time in the semester, thus welcoming more students and meeting their needs faster. This means we must orient and integrate new students continually throughout each semester or session. We work tirelessly to bridge the gaps from migrations and life transitions, student crises, and unemployment to certificate and degree programs and skill jobs. Because of this, we are often called upon to extend ourselves beyond the role of instructors in order to facilitate the success of our diverse student population. In a time when general enrollments were down, the number of non-credit students began increasing at a rapid rate, and we have responded to the demands with determination and flexibility, accommodating more students and handling the extra work to meet student needs. We non-credit faculty love what we do. It is rewarding when our students visit us years later, having completed degree programs or thriving in successful careers, to thank us and say that non-credit is where it all began. However, despite our valuable contributions to our students' education and futures, we are still economically marginalized in the district. Even though we are as qualified and experienced as our credit counterparts, typically exceeding the minimum qualifications for our disciplines. At this moment in time, we're all working to recover from the educational, economic, social, and health crises we face. And we adjunct non-credit instructors will continue to be at the forefront of this work. The district has the opportunity now to set us on a secure footing, which will positively impact the lives of students and faculty. It is time for non-credit pay parity. We faculty deserve the dignity of equal pay. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Next will be Luciano Morales. Go ahead and unmute yourself.
As a quick apologies. Can Sadika Shabazz go before me? She does have to sign out like now after the speech.
Sure. Let's go ahead and do that. Go ahead.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Luciano, Board of Trustees. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Sadika Shabazz. I'm an assistant professor of non-credit ESL. I'm the sole full-time faculty member in our non-credit program here at LA Trade Tech. And I'm here today to implore this body and any other decision makers who are listening to this message to stand up for dignity, respect, and fairness in our district by bringing about pay parity for all faculty, including non-credit adjunct faculty. I'd also like to take this time to dispel a few myths that seem to be floating around about non-credit faculty, students, and programs. Myth number one, non-credit faculty aren't as educated or well-trained as their credit colleagues. While it may be true that minimum qualifications for non-credit disciplines don't always require a master's degree, a large portion of our non-credit faculty do in fact hold master's degrees in addition to other certifications and credentials. We also present at conference, we publish, and we participate in ongoing training and professional development. Between the 13 non-credit ESL faculty members here at Trade Tech alone, we also speak 7 languages other than English that we use to support the students who come through our doors. Myth number 2, that teaching non-credit classes is easier than teaching credit-bearing classes. Non-credit faculty have the additional responsibility of administering standardized testing through CASAS and TABE, which we train and certify for regularly, as well as reporting and tracking positive attendance. And all of this is on top of our collaborative curriculum development, our lesson planning, preparing materials and Canvas shells and grading. And yes, 1,000 times yes, we do assess our students. Our students work inside and outside of the classroom, and we do grade our students as well too. So I want to put that baby to bed today as well. Okay, myth number 3, that our non-credit students aren't real college students or not full college students. Our students put the D the diversity in DEI in terms of language, nationality, age, educational background,
Your 2 minutes
ability,
are up.
and more.
If we could
Okay.
wrap up, thank you.
The FTEs generated by our students' hard work, attendance, and achievement is now funded at a similar rate to their credit classmates. We serve students who otherwise might have no viable interest into post-secondary education. We stand in the gap and create that bridge so that the non-credit students of today can become the transfer students, the CTE students, and the certificate students of tomorrow. So our programs are vital for student success, and I urge you to support pay increase and parity for all faculty, including non-credit adjunct faculty. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next, let's go back to Mr. Luciano Morales. Go ahead and unmute yourself.
Board members and Chancellor Rodriguez, we ain't complaining. We're just asking to consider equal compensation rates for non-credit faculties across the Los Angeles Community College District during negotiations. My name is Luciano Morales, and I am an adjunct faculty in the non-credit adult education discipline at Los Angeles Trade College. Our mission is to always empower non-credit students to transfer to level courses, gain strong workforce skills for upward mobility, improve basic skills for self-empowerment, take advantage of additional non-credit classes, and to always serve as a point of contact for our students. Now, it's been challenging doing so, however, because of COVID ramifications, but according to the California Community College Data Mart, the non-credit FTEs for 2021 to 2022 depicts a higher percentage when analyzing across other local districts. Why? Well, because at the end of the day, non-credit entail of other responsibilities that we as non-credit faculty deal with semester per semester without complaining. For example, open entry, open exit enrollment. Constantly, we're adding and dropping students throughout the semester. Technology gaps. We all seem to be teaching Canvas now to show our students. Scaffolding lessons because our adult learners have been out of school for years. Bilingual instruction. We do offer Spanish-speaking courses as well under non-credit. Emailing and calling students to re-engagement semester per semester, and most definitely completing positive attendance reports in addition to grades and census drops. So board members and Chancellor, we ain't complaining, but we're just asking to consider that our unique duties take time to nurture as well as we continue to facilitate the best practical instruction for non-credit students. So one day they could transfer to credit level coursework as well. Hopefully you can consider us in the bargaining negotiations. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Next will be Ms. Araceli Soto. Go ahead and unmute yourself.
I have. Hi, good afternoon. Good afternoon. Hello, trustees and chancellor. My name is Araceli Soto, a nursing instructor at East Los Angeles College. I'm a proud alumni and faculty member because I wanted to give back to the program that prepared me for such a wonderful and rewarding profession. I took this position to empower others in similar circumstances. It made me who I am, and it made a difference despite my socioeconomic barriers. And I want to help my students fulfill their dreams in becoming a nurse. I get so emotional when I speak about the students. Helping the students succeed is my primary focus, my goal. I am blessed to directly help build new generations of nurses to decrease nursing and educator shortages, especially as we are recovering from a health crisis, the pandemic. Just because we are passionate about teaching, caring, that does not mean we need to be underpaid for our skills, knowledge, education, and qualifications, as well as the service we provide our vulnerable population of students and patients. We need to have a credible, equitable pay compared to nurses working in the hospital setting. And this can help recruit, attract experienced nurses to become nurse faculty, educate future generation of nurses. My colleagues and I are required to have continuing educational units to renew our license and additional certifications and travel to assigned clinical facilities for training to meet clinical requirements for onboarding without pay. We do spend a lot of time out of the school campus. I've also noticed the benefit difference between LACCD nursing instructors and hospital nurses. They have employee benefits such as 96 hours of sick
Soto, your
pay.
2 minutes are up. Can we wrap up?
Yes, I want to plead with the committee that we ask for the same level of commitment and respect for us as faculty. Not only should adjunct and full-time faculty be compensated for the time spent to optimize student success, we deserve competitive salaries that we all can be proud of. It is the right thing to do for us, faculty. Give us, please, what we need to meet our also family, and piggyback from Mr. Hio, Mr. Scott, and Ms. Gill. We need that, comparable cost of living adjustments also. Thank you so much for listening to me. And like I said, I get very emotional because I do empathize with the students, and we're here, we're committed for the student success.
Thank you so much, Ms. Soto.
Thank you.
Next is Carmen Wimsat. Go ahead and unmute yourself.
It looks like she's not on Zoom, but if she can please raise her hand.
Okay, please raise your hand, Ms. Wimsat. Carmen, we'll let you in.
It looks like she's not on.
Yeah, well, if she comes back, we'll get her in. Next is Alejandro Cabrera. Mr. Cabrera, go ahead and unmute yourself.
All right. Good afternoon to all of you guys. All right. So yeah, I'm Alex Cabrera. That's I prefer to go by. I'm a student attending Pierce College here in the San Fernando Valley. I want to talk to all of you guys on the importance about paying all our educators and professors fair wages. Because as a society and educational institution, we need to do a better job at ensuring that educators get paid the fair and competitive wages that they deserve, and because they struggle to make their ends meet. How can we expect them to do their job, to teach or inspire the students if they're struggling with how much they're making? And what's really crazy to me is that their salaries have remained relatively unchanged for 23 years. And that's crazy to me. It's like mind blowing because like that's how long I've been alive for on this planet. And it's just ridiculous to me that for as long as I've been alive, that they've only had one one salary increase. It was only 1.07% above the COLA, which to me it's just insane. But I also want to mention that talking about my political science professor, Thomas Klein. He inspired me to major in political science. But the sad thing is that he has to commute very far to get to Pierce College because of how crazy expensive it is to live here in LA. And it's not just easy for someone to just like make the decision, just move closer to their job, because I mean there's so many things to take into consideration. And what's not helping much is the cost of gasoline and the fact that we don't really have much viable alternatives to driving here in the Southland for many.
Mr. Cabrera, can you, the 2 minutes are up. Can you wrap up the comment?
Yeah, for sure. Our campus need more people like Professor Klein to help students feel inspired, motivated to find their paths in their college careers. However, the jobs aren't easy. They have to deal with living expenses, so it's only fair that we increase their salaries for the work they put into our communities. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for being here. Next is Chauncey Madron. Chauncey, oh, you're in person. Come on up.
Thank you. Members of the board and chancellor, my name is Chauncey Madron. I'm full-time music faculty and academic senate president at Los Angeles Valley College. I'm also a proud 1521 member. I've worked in the LACCD for almost 30 years now, and I find nothing more rewarding than to work to serve the students of our district. As you are aware, the faculty are currently in contract negotiations, and I come before you to ask you to support the faculty of the LACCD and the work that they do every day in service of our students. Over the past 17 years, the average incomes of LACCD full-time instructional staff have increased by 40%. However, during that same time period, the inflation rate in California was approximately 50%. Additionally, housing prices in the Los Angeles area have skyrocketed and increased by 80%. This disparity between the wages of full-time faculty and the cost of living in Los Angeles has greatly impacted those who work every day to help the students of the LACCD. The faculty of the LACCD deserve to be paid a wage that allows them to afford gas, food, and housing in the area in which they teach. But I'm not just here to speak to you about keeping up with inflation and cost of living. I'm asking you to consider taking the lead in wages and benefits for community college faculty in the Los Angeles area, because this disparity also impacts our ability to hire and retain new faculty. We want these new faculty to come from the communities in which they teach. We want these new faculty to live in the communities in which they teach. A large disparity between faculty salaries and the cost of living in Los Angeles will greatly hamper our efforts in equitable hiring practices. Beyond being competitive, the LACCD should strive to be the place where the faculty of tomorrow want to work, and much of that will depend on the district supporting its future faculty with wages and benefits that make it a leader in the Los Angeles area. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate you being here. Next is Christine Gengaro.
Gengaro.
Okay, sorry.
No problem. Hi, thank you for the opportunity to speak. My name is Christine Gengaro. I'm a full-time faculty member at Los Angeles City College since 2006, as well as the online education coordinator for our school. In our district, I am fortunate enough to work with students who are diverse in every conceivable way. In order to serve them and meet them where they are, my colleagues and I must use every pedagogical tool at our disposal. We must intentionally create inclusive communities in our classes, both in person and online, that see and honor our students. All of this takes time, it takes constant effort, and it takes devoted and well-trained educators. In order to attract and keep the kinds of educators who are willing to do this work, we need to offer them a salary that shows respect for this work, a salary that honors the efforts of consistently supporting our students. Furthermore, equitable pay allows faculty like myself to live in the city where I work. I am proud I can contribute to the LACCD community, but I worry that the cost of living in Los Angeles, which keeps increasing, will one day prevent me from staying in my community. As faculty, we put our students first. That work follows us into the weekends, late hours of the night, through spring, summer, and winter breaks. Equitable pay shows that this work is valued. It shows the time investment each faculty member makes on behalf of their students is worthwhile. Equitable pay shows that faculty are supported so that we can support students, increasing student success and retention. Equitable pay allows us to stay in our communities. We, as faculty, are due for a raise, and I hope you take into serious consideration all the comments that you've heard today. And thank you very much for the opportunity to speak.
Thank you so much. Next is Vincent Rosso. Mr. Rosso, go ahead and unmute yourself.
Yes, hi, good afternoon, Chancellor Rodriguez, President and members of the Board of Trustees. My name is Vincent Rosso, speaking on behalf of the Campaign for College Opportunity. We would like to thank Chancellor Rodriguez and the board and our employees and faculty and counselors across LACCD for your commitment to monitoring and supporting the successful implementation of equitable placement and completion policy. The work happening on every single campus across the district has already resulted in thousands of more students taking strides closer to their college goals, and for that, we applaud you all. I would also like to announce and congratulate 4 of your colleges for earning a 2023 Excellence in Placement Award. LA Valley College is receiving 4 awards for overall excellence in transfer level English enrollment, Black student and Latinx student English enrollment, and their work in supporting Black students to successfully complete transfer level English. Congratulations to President Gibbons. LA Southwest and West Los Angeles colleges will each receive 3 awards for their work in overall transfer level English enrollment, in addition to working in both Black and Latinx student enrollment in transfer level English. So congratulations, President Culpepper and President Limbaugh. And finally, we congratulate ELAC, East Los Angeles College, for their excellence in enrolling Black students in transfer level English. Congratulations to President Roman, and I actually just toured your campus yesterday. It was beautiful. We're really excited to honor these 4 colleges later this month at our 2023 Equity in Placement celebration, and hope you can all join us. As applications for equitable placement and completion grants open, the campaign looks forward to working with campus leaders across the district to support and uplift the best practices that lead us towards our collective goal of increased student success. So thank you for your leadership. Thank you to all of our faculty, counselors, and staff across the district who spoke today. Without you all, none of this would be possible. And congratulations to our equity and placement honorees. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Is there any more public speakers not on agenda items? Okay, let's move forward to, are there any speakers in closed session for closed session items?
No, sir. No,
There
sir.
isn't any either. All right, so at this point, without any further objection, we're going to go ahead and recess to closed session. Thank you, everyone, for being here.
So ordered.
Do I need to do a roll call for it? I had no objection. Okay, thank you.